This dude is rocking the best, worst curse ever. Dao knows this game's lore back to front. He knows the villains, the heroine, and every single catastrophic event headed his way. His one goal: touch grass, lay low, do not draw attention, and dodge every dangerous plot event incoming. He just wanted a chill life with zero drama. But this sick curse makes every villain in the world either totally obsessed or actively trying to end him. So when the bad girls in this world look like that rocking curves, that should straight up be illegal. And they are all going absolutely crazy over you, who do you even pick? Choose one and the rest will literally throw down just to fight over you. Thanks to the butterfly effect, one single choice can lock in your entire fate. And looking back, our boy feels like every choice he made is just a massive L he regrets to his core. Because right now he is totally cornered, hiding by a window while some shrill voice outside is calling him darling. She tells him she knows damn well he is hiding in there. She threatens to break in by force, and she absolutely means it. Something sharp punches straight through the door. Terrified, he tries talking his way out by citing student council rules, only to realize the girl tearing his door apart is the student council president herself. She demands to know if he is really going to keep running from her. Pissed that he ghosted her twice in a row, she flat out asks if he wants to get married. Before he can even answer, a second girl shows up to throw her hat in the ring, and she is definitely not cool with sharing him. The newcomer just smirks and sticks her tongue out at the president. He tries to chill things out, but it only gets worse. A third girl drops straight down from the ceiling completely into him too, and now the other two are absolutely furious. This one tells him to skip the dating phase and just move in with her. The wedding is already paid for. All they need is the groom. Just when it seems like things cannot possibly get any crazier, a fourth girl shows up, shoving her way in, shouting that he is already taken. Surrounded, mortified, and completely freaking out. All he can think is if nobody steps in right now, these girls are going to start a literal war over him. The big question hanging over all of this: how the hell did we get here? It all started with that goated survival game he just cleared, feeling pretty damn good about the win. Except somehow he got isekai'd straight into the actual game. And here's the kicker: he did not even roll the hero. He got dumped into some nobody NPC, a minor Viscount kid. Pure background character tier, about to start at the Imperial Academy. His dad gave him one rule: do not cause trouble. Do not draw aggro. That place is completely packed with kids from the most overpowered noble families around. The second he agrees, system windows start spamming in front of him, and his stats are straight up pathetic. Even as a hardcore veteran player, he has never seen stats this busted. The starting quest is simple enough though. Get into the academy, get placed into a class, skip it, and you catch an instant game over. So he decides to play it safe. Stay invisible, let the real MC carry the plot while he camps in the background. But the trouble starts way too early. Right on the train to the academy, he is stuck in the same car as Elnor the Bloodthirsty, the princess of House Tristan, the literal final boss, the one character whose storyline always ends in a massive clash with the main protagonist. He stares at her for so long that she asks if he needs a doctor, pointing out how insanely pale he looks. She looks at this clueless guy and casually mentions that the Duchy of Tristan really cares about its public image. Taking economy class instead of first class was actually a giant PR move to show she is totally equal to everyone else. She tells him it is cool though, since everyone stepping into this car gives her that exact same stunned look. The real issue here, she is acting completely different from her in-game lore, and he is racking his brain trying to figure out why. Since he stays completely quiet, she asks why he is acting so jittery. He stammers out that he is just a little shy. She figures he must have heard some sketchy rumors floating around about her, trying to just play it off. He looks right at her and says he only heard she was super strict. Then he adds that mostly people just said she was incredibly weird, reminding himself that he is just an extra NPC who cannot get involved. He decides to zip it and stare out the window. Looking outside, he spots something totally weird and notices the student council president nearby. Looks like both of them are about to board, and then a massive boulder smashes directly into the train car, tearing the thing right in half. Right at that moment, her magical necklace, which detects and counters undead traps, instantly lights up. Elnor always wears it, keeping her safe from all the insane death traps set for her. Knowing his garbage stats will definitely not survive this crash, our boy just grabs onto her. He does not even hesitate. The second he moves, her eyes go wide, like some crazy cosmic connection just snapped into place. Elnor checks if he is okay, then immediately tells him to get off. Amidst all that insane chaos, he did not even realize he crash-landed right on top of her. Honestly, he is just hyped. He had a soft landing pad. Bro finally snaps back to reality and starts panic apologizing on loop. She just looks away, brushing it off completely. She totally assumes he tackled her to save her life. She even admits that no guy has ever gotten this up close and personal before. Meanwhile, he is internally screaming, knowing he only grabbed her to use that thick armor as a meat shield. But thanks to his accidental riz, she gets super intrigued and demands his name. He gets a terrible gut feeling about answering her. Answering means she will definitely become a recurring headache, but he caves, gives his name, and she smiles, promising to remember it forever. Right on cue, his system window pops up confirming a literal villainess is now heavily invested in him. Hitting those special reward conditions unlocks two completely sick new skills for him, Awakened Survival and Deadly Charm. Since this train is Alphonte Academy property, the emergency rescue squad shows up ridiculously fast. Thanks to top-tier security, casualties are basically zero. Medics patch everyone up and rescue carriages quickly start hauling them off. Soon enough, they pull up to the legendary Academy gates. After surviving that absolute train wreck, he finally gets his first solid chance. Time to properly check his reward. He realizes figuring out those crazy unlock requirements beforehand would have been totally impossible no matter what. Back at the Viscount place, he was not playing the bad guy. Finding someone totally neutral in a crowd of hyped-up NPCs was basically impossible. The reward is locked, but he is seriously itching to see his new loot. So he boots up that status panel to review his stats while chilling in the carriage. Desperate survival will definitely carry him through brutal fights. Deadly Charm, though, that could backfire and become a massive headache, especially when you know exactly how the female villains operate here. You have a battle-crazed warrior obsessed with throwing hands, plus an absolutely unhinged sword saint striking anyone in her personal space. Throw in a cutthroat mercenary chasing bags of gold and a prodigy mage with senses cranked up to 1,000. Dealing with that roster of psychos makes him just want to touch grass. Look, his only real priority is bagging survival skills so he can finally chill. But even as a veteran gamer, this specific effect is totally new. The carriage doctor catches him zoning out and offers a free mental health check. The grueling trip finally wraps up. He survived a literal train disaster, yet he steps out of that ride looking insanely salty about everything. The Academy staff drones on with welcome speeches while he just stands there, totally muted. Honestly, the guy is carrying way too much heavy mental baggage right now. That doctor back in the transport flexed about being an alumni here born into some minor noble house. He straight up warned him that huge monster stone crushing their train car was highly intentional. The doc also advised him to dodge anyone repping the Tristan dukedom at all costs. Here is where the plot thickens. Checking his menu confirms his first major trust event with Elnor is dropping any second now. In a school packed with toxic gossip and backstabbing, she is easily a top-tier candidate for the final boss role. Mid-daydream, somebody suddenly starts barking his name out loud. An annoyed instructor roasts him for sleeping, standing up. Sparring partners were just chosen and our guy got completely ghosted, left standing totally solo. Thanks to his zoning out, the system autofills his opponent. The normal fighters are gone, leaving him hard stuck with the absolute worst possible matchup. Naturally, his leftover sparring partner is this ridiculously giant girl. We are talking about Aaliyah, the undisputed prodigy of this entire universe. Fast forward, and she is quite literally destined to save all of humanity. She's the goated main character. Right now, she just politely helps him up. Watch his face drop seeing his new opponent. He instantly knows he is totally cooked. Meanwhile, a spectating woman with glasses watches this student cause a scene and assumes she has totally lost the plot. Entrance exams started already, so she cannot fathom how this girl managed to show up so ridiculously late. Yeah, the girl strolling in caked in mud with absolute bedhead. The official is stressing out and has a million questions ready to fire. Like, where on earth has she been all this time? Elnor stays frosty, claiming she was merely handling some trivial side quests. The woman catches her drift, but she absolutely needs to verify a few details first. Back completely turned, Elnor casually drops that some random punks tried flattening her, crushing the Academy train with a massive boulder. They tried framing it as an accident. But obviously she hunted down and bagged every single one of those losers. Hearing that wild flex, the woman, she tells her friend to change, since those entrance duels are already popping off. She almost mentions that if they hurry, they can catch the final match, but then spots the newcomer entering. Hearing our main character's name, she realizes her friend already knows the guy. But the girl calls him an absolute nobody. She still clearly remembers his incredibly goofy expression back when they shared a train car. Still, thinking about his weird vibe makes her smirk. Meanwhile, down in the arena, our guy is shaking in his boots. He knows his stats are pure garbage. One clean hit from this lady means literal game over. Then it clicks. This could be a massive W. Extreme danger might just unlock his hidden abilities. His status window literally said his stats scale up when things get crazy dangerous. He bets the real villains are hiding in that crowd. Surviving this beatdown is guaranteed to grab their attention. Factoring in his meta-knowledge and stat boosts, he might actually walk away. Right across from him, this ridiculously overpowered woman actually shoots him a pity look. Before utterly destroying him, she demands a straight answer. She wants him to admit he is complete trash. Confess, she tells him, and she might just skip the beatdown. Then she asks if he hangs out with Tristan. She calls that girl and her whole family absolute monsters. Our MC thinks she is crazy, bold, but honestly not entirely wrong. Going by the original lore, her hate is completely justified, so he gets the messy family drama. The problem, he just shared a room with Tristan, yet this woman claims his face screams disgusting brat, so she suggests faking it. Honestly, that sounds sick, but failing to level up within 2 days equals a death sentence anyway. He tells her to bring the heat. Pushing buttons, he claims he actually really likes Tristan. Gripping her sword, the woman demands to know if he is serious. It is pure cap, but drawing out her full power means committing completely to the bit. He shouts that he loves the girl endlessly, and the system instantly pops deadly charm. Now she refuses to feel bad about wrecking him. Furious, she blitzes straight ahead with absolutely everything she has. He barely dodges, but the sheer shockwave of her strike snaps his sword clean in half. Real panic sets in one wrong move, and he literally gets wiped from the server. The short-haired girl is actually super impressed this total scrub dodged her attack. Deciding to drop the weights, she prepares to crush him completely. Sensing a lethal finisher incoming, the system detects a massive threat and flags his life as being critically endangered. Instantly, his desperate survival skill pops at rank EX1. Closing his eyes, he chucks a blind punch right at her face, dazing her. Watching that crazy impact unfold, he realizes X rank stands as the single highest tier in this game. Power is so completely wild that the entire crowd instantly views him in a brand new light. One lucky punch is literally all it takes to knock this girl out cold. You have to see this to believe it. This total, nobody just clutched up at the final buzzer. Staring at his fist, even our MC cannot believe the ridiculous raw damage he just dropped. The arena goes dead silent. Everyone just stares at this F-rank loser who somehow secured the dub. This goated play grabs the entire Alphanti Academy by the throat. Day one, and he casually flatlines the original protagonist. Up in the VIP meeting room, the higher-ups immediately assume he completely rigged his exam. Their whole perception of him is flipped upside down, prompting the directors to fiercely debate his file. An evaluator brings up the fact that this kid had literally 0 combat skills beforehand. Yet that heavy strike was undeniable, making the headmistress demand a real explanation for this madness. The scarred man states plainly nobody in this academy tanks that punch, not even him. Since his odds against the promising warrior Ilya were absolute 0, they suspect some kind of illegal buff. But the scarred man actually tosses a few wilder theories into the mix. Crazy alternative. This kid might just be a once-in-a-generation talented monster. That rough pill is seriously hard to swallow for everyone, especially the Margrave, who sponsors Elia. Still sleeping on a student packing this much raw potential means a massive L for the academy. Fraud or not, the truth will surface soon enough. For now, they decide to just sit back and watch. Academy spawn points are packed with high-tier newbies. A few unique NPCs require absolute special treatment. Analyzing his stats. If this player is truly goated, his future quest relevance is 100%. Server chat update, terrifying leaks and screenshots of Host are flooding the Academy news feeds. Host despises this sudden clout. It triggers severe trauma debuffs from his original playthrough before getting soft-locked in this game. Alert triggered. I automatically generate a UI notification, a highly specific NPC's trust stat just leveled up. Multiple holographic logs deployed directly into his field of vision, cataloging every single sick buff and upgrade. General NPC aggro is converting to trust and hype, generating pure currency for Host to burn in my shop. Error logged. Host cannot comprehend why the final boss suddenly gained interest. She lacks the required proximity data. A rare skill drop from House Tristan registers. They are an elite faction of demon-blooded swordsmen. Host ignores this anomaly. The actual glitch is the dual opponent girl appearing on his active affinity list right after taking a massive L. Loot mechanics dictate gifts only drop from villainous characters with positive affinity. She lacks the villainous tag and clearly hates him. While Host processes these broken mechanics, a loud physical impact registers repeatedly against his door. Audio input detected. The entity outside demands to know if the freshman is here. Voice print heavily matches prior encounters. NPC Ilya provides verbal identification. She demands immediate access while spamming physical attacks on the door. Host lacks objective markers for this event. He initiates stealth mode, remaining totally silent, hoping her aggro resets. Stealth check failed. She loudly broadcasts that she sees his presence ping and demands an instant response. Door breach threatened. Host immediately breaks silence, loudly asking if her logic stats have completely crashed to 0. Target audio confirmed. She celebrates her successful read and aggressively interrogates Host on his massive lag in opening the door. She shifts to a begging prompt, 0 damage guaranteed, just a fast dialogue check. Host repeatedly asks for her current quest objective. Behavioral algorithms failing. She claims it is just a fast social interaction to grind up some early relationship points. Left entirely alone in the hallway cell, Ilya's processing unit slowly computes the entire situation. Tactical retreat executed. However, her satisfaction metrics regarding his toxic attitude remain deeply in the red. Logic dictates he should have auto-accepted the prompt instead of acting completely hyper-defensive. Running playback on the chat. She flags the other girls in memory and determines this entire scenario is insanely bugged. Stuck in idle animation. A realization parameter finally hits. She lacks the basic social tree unlocks to actually befriend male characters. CPU overload causes spatial awareness failure. Collision detected instantly, knocking a random NPC's consumable item straight to the floor. Initiating item recovery animation. The other unit aggressively barks at her to check her minimap next time. The light-haired character then checks her current HP status. Threat level escalating. Camera angle pans up, revealing the exact identity of the unit blocking her path. Survival instinct overrides active commands. Flee response maximized, telling her to dash away and delete this route. Fear debuff applied. Her CPU struggles to process a high-level House Tristan member spawning in this exact corridor. Auto-combat triggers. Her hand snaps directly to her weapon hilt. Zero deliberate user input detected, just a raw, unscripted self-defense protocol firing off, maintaining direct eye contact. She runs a quick level check, calculating if she stands any actual chance at her current low tier. Combat aborted. Elnor Tristan remains totally idle, extending a hand to initiate the basic help-up action. Analyzing Elnor's calm state, Ilya assumes her panicked weapon draw completely bypassed the target's perception check. Objective updated, return dropped consumable. Still heavily under the fear debuff, Ilya transfers the item back to inventory. Hypothesis formed. Elnor skipped the combat response because Ilya's power level registers as a complete 0. Ilya then volunteers navigation data, take a right down the corridor to hit Dawood's room instantly. Dialogue tree blocked. Elnor demands the data source. How exactly does she know a male student's spawn location? The short-haired unit inputs that she was just lingering at his location. Elnor's hostility meter visibly spikes at this intel. Reason demanded. The timid unit stammers out her defense, logging it as just a casual co-op chat between starting players. Admin abuse detected. The student council president hotfixes a new server rule permanently banning Ilya from entering Dawood's zone. Ilya rejects the ban warning. She demands full disclosure regarding the hidden relationship stat between these two specific players. Memory file retrieved, accessing his dialogue from their previous PvP match. Connecting the dots, she assumes a hidden romance arc exists and locks onto them, activating permanent surveillance mode on this entire situation. Exam phase initiated. The system scans all metrics, auto-sorting players into factions post-duel. Defeating the knight candidate forced Host into the maximum tier bracket. Other NPCs are hyped about their placements, but Host is currently stressing out over one massive glitch: that girl. He burned all his stamina dodging her yesterday, but matchmaking just completely screwed him. She is locked right into his current active party. The system suddenly pings him. Her curiosity just leveled up to 5, proving this girl is getting more obsessed by the minute. Our guy remembers those random snacks and that weird letter from last night. Is he actually dealing with a straight-up stalker? Whatever, he just needs to lock in for the exam and pray things go smoothly. This is a core storyline quest after all. He also catches Elnor looking way more confident lately. Right now, she steps right up to the crowd. She loudly announces she is supervising their exam group. Things are getting super weird, because Elnor's whole canon event was supposed to play out way differently. Yet here she is acting as their leader. It would be totally wild if this test went down without a hitch. But honestly, this whole butterfly effect probably stems from that meeting they just had. She tells the crew to head straight for the testing zone, first promising to drop a Q&A session once they arrive. You can totally see how much sweaty, try-hard effort went into prepping this exam. Surprised by the insane setup or not, the entire squad keeps following her down the path. Walking ahead, Elnor suddenly remembers that big promise to answer their questions the second they arrived. But hold up, our MC glances forward and spots the room entrance completely blocked off and locked down. The event already kicked off. This is not a drill, it is a straight-up trap. The main quest right here is saving that specific target. Glancing around, he spots 2 girls chatting and realizes, wait, those are the original protagonist's main party members. He knows the lore perfectly. This exact spot is the canon meetup point. Basically, everyone in this room is completely goated for the future plot. He shouts out, telling the whole squad they need to regroup at the central hall as soon as possible. He hypes it up, explaining they will find Map's top-tier gear and rescue supplies. Once he has their full attention, he drops the bomb. Since they are already stationed here, he is taking a solo detour. Ilya finds it incredibly sus that he wants to walk in the exact opposite direction of safety. He tells her he cannot drop the lore dump right now, but promises it is insanely important and will explain later. He feels totally fine because technically he did not lie. Literally nothing matters more than saving his own skin right now. Walking off alone, he wonders if his giant brain play actually worked. Flexing on Ilya earlier definitely gave his words some clout, so now he just needs to camp in a corner until the event finishes. Those mercenaries only care about getting Elnor. Nobody's going to look twice at him, so all he has to do is touch grass and hide. But mid-walk, a voice calls out. He turns around and the vibe is completely ruined. Some creep with a seriously messed up face claims he is just here to fix the power, asking our guy to lead the way. The dude whines about having awful night vision. Right on cue, the system flashes a massive red danger warning on screen. Back to the dark, damp hallway grind. One of the side girls asks Aaliyah if the MC is actually going to survive wandering off solo like a total noob. Aaliyah just says he definitely had a master plan before dipping out. Regardless, it feels like a total disaster is about to hit their squad first. Nearby, two dudes mention how the frontline group already speedrun beating that demonic woman. They openly laugh about how insanely easy it was to juke the MC completely. Still gossiping, they watch our guy strolling forward, totally exposed. The creepy mercenary casually mentions that the equipment room is right around the corner. This absolute edgelord loves bragging about being a pro merc, claiming he can stat check anybody just by watching their footwork. He decides our MC is just a massive noob. Might as well troll him a little bit before sending him back to the lobby. Wearing the grossest smirk ever, the guy yanks off his mask and offers the kid a little reward for being good. The MC spins around looking completely dead inside, acting like this bozo is literally nobody. Staring right at the creep, he admits he would be totally cooked if his enemy were actually high level. Openly roasting him, our guy sighs in relief, totally flaming the dude's pathetic walk and terrible sinus problems. He gets into a fighting stance, wondering if this try-hard survival match will finally score him a sick rank up, or just a garbage grade because his opponent is basically a walking L. The merc still thinks he is fighting a squishy weakling and decides to sweat going all out. Our guy just grips his staff tighter, wondering what kind of broken magic will shoot out this time. Meanwhile, a completely chaotic brawl breaks out off-screen and some guy gets violently body-slammed straight into the wall. Immediately after, he takes a brutal barrage of arrows to the face. But the combo does not stop there. A bunch of mercs start floating in midair, totally engulfed in literal fire. Turns out the whole squad pulled a U-turn to help the solo MC. After easily crowd-controlling almost everyone, the red-haired dude wonders why these mobs were so ridiculously squishy. The girl commands her ice sheets to freeze all these bozos absolutely solid. Over in another hallway not too far away, Elnor is out here serving up some major reality checks. She has to remind these absolute scrubs that they picked a fight with the final boss. So yeah, she's just wiping the floor with these useless NPCs, zero mercy shown. It is totally obvious none of them have any real talent right there. After beating them to a pulp, she interrogates them to see who sent them. She has to press a few of them pretty hard to get them spilling the tea. Now that their squads are finally combined, Elnor wants to know if the mastermind is inside that building or just chilling nearby. Realizing it will not be easy to get info from them, she plays hardball. She asks if the mercenary is currently hanging out at that location. After turning up the heat, one goon leaks that their boss actually tagged along. Aaliyah wants to know why she's going so hardcore with this. The answer is super simple. Someone tried to take her out, and Crescent Moon is a mercenary who can literally shapeshift into whoever he eliminates. She drops a heavy question on them, asking who the absolute easiest target would be for a veteran assassin. She realizes Dawood used himself as bait to drag the strongest enemy away. Hearing that wild play, they ask what kind of relationship those two actually have. She replies that there is nothing going on between them, at least as far as she knows. Now watch this. Our boy Dawood is having an absolute field day with the guy who jumped him. The enemy has zero clue why his powers are glitching. He needs to touch grass, getting tossed around like a noob. Dawood is basically taking a casual stroll between every single hit. The supposedly goated mercenary sent to eliminate him is getting completely clapped. Right then, a system notification pops up letting him know that his sword technique was successfully executed. Once the dude notices he is using Tristan's sword technique, it becomes crystal clear he picked a fight with the absolute wrong guy. The mercenary admits he realized the kid used himself as bait, and the system panel shows he is actually hyped about that massive brain play. Thanks to the game system, nobody can use weapons inside save points, which is exactly why our MC lured him into this zone. Dawood says he doesn't even plan on ending him. He just needs this guy to tell the others to stay far away from Lady Tristan. He doesn't know who dropped the bounty on her head, but he figures they will definitely keep coming after her. The mercenary just stares at him and asks what he will do if they actually go after her again. With a completely deadpan face, Dawood tells him to go ahead and try because he will be right there to protect her next time too. The mercenary asks if that girl is really that important to him. Dawood drops the fact that she definitely is way more than he could ever imagine. When he drops that sick line, he has zero clue she is standing right behind him. And hearing those sweet words causes her favorability stats to completely shoot through the roof. As soon as he turns around, he sees an absolute flood of system windows popping up right in his face. The odds of the villain actually favoring him spike insanely high, and the notification just keeps aggressively spamming his screen. Back at the academy office, things are looking incredibly messy. No matter how hard she tries to organize things, the place remains a total disaster zone. She doesn't get why the chancellor threw such a fit. But tracking down the shady organization on such short notice is crazy tough with this huge backlog. She points out that based on the mercenaries' route and timing, it is almost guaranteed they have a mole inside. She tells the girl that while political attacks are pretty common, this is already their second wild attempt. They must be seriously dead set on this because this incident feels completely different from the rest. Everyone who partied up with her got officially recognized, and they all cleared the enemies without taking any losses. The only problem is Dawood. He is literally the only one with no official record of achievement, which makes zero sense. It almost feels like he is intentionally trying to fly under the Academy's radar. After hearing all this, Elnor starts having major second thoughts about the guy. Still, there is a tiny seed of doubt, and deep down, she really doesn't want to completely believe it. The woman talking to her, however, is getting pretty annoyed. She definitely does not want to see her defending this random stranger. After catching the object tossed right at her, the girl asks what she means by that. The issue is that she seems completely spaced out all day and cannot even focus. She finally admits it is because she started taking a serious interest in someone. When the woman asks if that lucky someone is Dawood, both of them just fall completely silent. She finds it incredibly hard to believe the girl could actually fall for some country bumpkin. And if the Archduke ever finds out about this mess, things are going to get super ugly. Elnor does not appreciate her tone when she implies that she was easily won over. At the end of the day, he actually treats her well, whereas normally she wouldn't trust anybody. The girl says she just needs to put him to the ultimate test, so it is totally fine if she keeps a very close eye on him. Meanwhile, our boy looks over the certificate he just received, which says the Academy unfortunately cannot assign his class right now. Currently, the academic team is grinding on a project to show results, and he can expect some good news further down the road. By the book, he really shouldn't end up in a special class like Aaliyah's squad. He does not get why they are singling him out like this. But a crazy new quest pops up right away. It is all about the freshman orientation ceremony where his class will finally be assigned. Archer, warrior, mage, or priest. Class specs depend entirely on your main focus. Hoya uses his sword, meaning her build focuses on pure strength. The catch, he has to deal with an incident. It is going down during the ceremony. Plus, Elnor's stats just randomly completely shifted. Ilia's stats also got wildly tweaked out of nowhere. The final boss, the heroine, and main quest events are all popping off simultaneously. Basically, something massive is about to drop. To make matters crazier, a sick new skill pops up, catching him completely off guard. He can literally copy a final boss skill now. But honestly, burning it this early feels like a total waste. She unlocks tons of goated skills later. So popping that duplicator right now makes literally zero sense. The thing is, he knows a game-breaking secret, and that is exactly why he is standing right outside the old equipment warehouse. To keep things low-key, he throws on a mask and completely hides his identity. Slipping past all the security, he finally hits the treasure vault. Using an agility boost, he leaps right on in. All thanks to an agility potion, the shadow mask, and a solid pair of hiking boots. Burning that much energy means he desperately needs a stamina recovery cookie. Now it is time to dig through all this absolute junk. He finds literally everything else, but the most crucial item is completely MIA. It is the divinity peak and sensor packed with 1,000 years of ancient power. Finding it finally has him super hyped. Still, something has him sweating. Things get insanely worse when he looks up a massive stack of boxes is about to totally collapse. If that whole pile comes crashing down, it is going to draw way too much heat. This is literally the worst possible time to fail, especially after everything went so perfectly smooth. The boxes drop and a gorgeous black-haired girl lands right in his lap. This is Yuria, the main boss of Chapter 2. Everyone knows her as the cursed sword goddess, and that item he grabbed actually belongs to her, which explains why she always hangs around here. Immediately, the system flashes a massive red danger alert. He has to lock in because this threat is completely lethal, triggering his X-rank desperate survival skill. Deep down, he genuinely apologizes for waking her, but she does not care about his apology at all and goes straight into attack mode. This was supposed to be a simple duel prep against Elia, but suddenly he is in a completely unhinged life or death fight. The sharp tip of her chain keeps barely missing him by a hair every single time. Judging by those eyes, she totally thinks his defeat is completely guaranteed. He desperately tries explaining that this is all a huge misunderstanding. He was not trying anything weird while she was asleep. He knows he absolutely has to convince her right now, because even rocking X-rank strength, his entire body is in absolute crazy pain. But in her mind, she is not making this easy for him at all. Honestly, messing with someone this dangerous was a massive mistake. Luckily, he knows exactly what to do to dodge. Meanwhile, she just keeps hurling that insane weapon straight at his head. Defending himself as best he can, all he can really do now is pray for a miracle. The pointed blade stops right before his face. He closes his eyes. He only needs to hold a distance of 3.5 steps. because any enemy closer than that gets instantly one-tapped without a chance to react. Except she literally cannot approach an opponent herself thanks to Yuria's curse, and he absolutely cannot run away either. He asks her to hold up a second. Looking around, he realizes this is her private turf, completely isolated from literally everyone else. Even the professors barely come around here, meaning he is completely alone with her. Knowing people get seriously hungry right about now, he gets a big brain idea and offers her a cookie. She refuses to fall for cheap tricks, seeing right through his weak food bribe. But lucky for him, the insane plan actually ends up working. Finding out who he is, she treats the whole thing as a minor mistake. Sure, he absolutely came here to steal her artifact, but now he has to cap and invent a random story on the spot. He claims someone told him to bring her food and watch over her. He decides to leave it there, knowing this connection could come in super handy later, especially since they were not even supposed to meet this early in the plot. Turning to leave, he tells her not to worry, letting her know her sister is doing totally fine in the Holy Empire. He mentions the Emperor will ignore both of them for a while, so he tells her to keep laying low and promises he will be back. Yuria actually fled the Holy Empire and hid at the Academy specifically to escape, so dropping info about her only surviving relative is totally chill. The next day, students go on a full Academy tour. The blonde, some girl explains everyone has to lock in their major and minor subjects during this ceremony. They can pick from 5 different departments: cavalry, sorcery, engineering, subjugation, and the clergy. Dowd totally knows this whole tutorial event just exists to lore dump this new world. The problem, people keep asking endless questions, making this thing feel like an absolute drag. Now the whole crowd is hyped about the Void Zone, that restricted area for punished students. Dowd already knows that place is literally just leftovers from the ancient Heaven and Hell War. That is exactly where God's holy warriors permanently sealed away the demons. Hundreds of years later, the clash between holy energy and death magic is still going crazy. This spot is totally crucial because letting those demons break out would be game over. That is why the Sacred Empire Tribal Alliance and Regular Empire formed the Golden Triangle to babysit the area. That means keeping Elfonte Academy and other similar spots under completely strict lockdown. Some student asks to check the place out, and the teacher says they can chill near the Seraph Barrier. Get this, our guy's actual plan is super simple. Grab a quick bite, dip out, and head back, but he has a side quest first. Angels can casually move mountains and dry oceans. The Seraphs, who are incredibly busted, actually built that huge barrier. That glowing wall is literally the only reason this academy can operate near such a crazy danger zone. Playing it smart, he asks to eat away from the crowd, claiming big groups completely ruin his vibe. The teacher actually lets him go, warning him to stay close so he does not end up catching heat. The other students get super salty seeing a total nobody act special over a tiny bit of attention. Whipping out a unicorn horn, a phoenix feather, and a hummingbird fan, his insane prep work is done. Now he just blows on it lightly and uses the fan perfectly. This crazy item basically acts like a portable direct offering to the actual gods. Judging by the visuals, the ritual is working flawlessly. He fully knows he is breaking major academy rules, but the payoff is way too sick to stop now. This gives him a VIP pass to beings a regular person could never even reach. With that cheat code activated, he finally hacks into the celestial realms. He watches these literal divine beings from afar. He can even hear their conversations. Up there, the big bosses are absolutely roasting some poor recruit. They yell that leveling the ground does not mean digging up everything in sight. Eventually, one angel spots a random human staring right at them. The angel notices this guy low-key staring for a while, but figures he will just ignore him as long as the kid stays absolutely quiet. Then the angry boss notices his worker slacking off and demands to know what his major problem is. As our guy binge watches the drama unfold, anyone caught slacking up there gets completely chewed out. Right after that, you can hear loud sirens blaring as a massive brick delivery truck rolls in. Everyone up there is scrambling, trying to figure out how to unload this truck packed with sacred mud bricks. The real nightmare. That pile of bricks is practically infinite. In a workplace like this, literally everything turns into a toxic argument. They even fight over taking a 1-second biscuit break. Orders keep flying everywhere while Dowd just chills on the sidelines, taking it all in. Turns out the next deliveries are heavily delayed. Why their truck totally broke down mid-route. Honestly, seeing this complete train wreck, you start to realize why these angels never come down to earth to touch grass. Simply put, angels basically operate just like the military. They have a crazy strict chain of command, and this whole game follows tight rules. You cannot even encounter angels until Chapter 2, and unlocking the top-tier ones takes forever. But he knew what these overworked guys actually wanted was pretty basic, so he hooks them up, setting out top-tier food and giving thanks for the meal. While he absolutely devours this amazing feast, the hungry angels just keep staring at him. One guy clearly wanted a bite, but his rank was way too low to ask permission and actually dropped down to earth. Spotting this, our main guy speaks up, telling them they should definitely grab some grub before getting back to the grind. Then he magically teleports the food up. Most angels are genuinely shook that he shared, so they happily agree to a quick break. Since the physics up there are totally different from the real world, a single human portion is weirdly enough to feed the entire squad. One angel is so hyped over the meal that he decides to bless this kid. He asks what Dowd wants but demands a solid reason first. So Dowd smoothly promises to do his absolute best to meet their expectations. It turns out Go did zero sweating or negotiating needed even though he literally prepared dozens of backup pitches. That angel assumes our guy is standing there shocked that some grand being would help a random nobody. But Dowd knows the truth just by looking that angel reads a person's true vibe through pure intuition. Honestly, that divine passive skill is way more broken than he ever imagined. But how he uses it is a whole different vibe. He figures that is exactly why he got snatched up by a toxic but loving monster. The other angel chimes that a normal dude would be losing his mind right now, but a total legend is in the making, so no stress. Honestly, Dowd is still shook. He can barely believe the angel hyped up a toxic but loving monster like that. And that whole goat status comment wild. Before dipping out for good, the angel literally tells him to back himself. With an angel hyping him up, Dowd figures he is honestly just grinding through all this so he does not end up flatlining. Still, an angel dropped that lore, so he really needs to process it. Right on cue, a system notification pops up, showing his vessel is packed with special divine buffs from another world. That angel totally hooked him up with some absolutely goated blessings, and his construction stat is literally tied to his health points. The buffs are sick, but the catch is he still lacks any major traits to flex. Right then, some random dude asks if zoning out is his ultimate skill and reminds him they need to team up. He mocks Dowd, asking if he even comprehends the basic concept of a partner, and if so, where is she? Full of confidence, Dowd fires back that she is pulling up soon. Sweating a bit, he insists no cap and that this place is about to be popping. His partner is insanely hyped. Since he knows the plot, he guarantees she will drop in fast. Right on cue, Elia makes her grand entrance. She asks the room if this is the monster research squad. At first, he wanted zero drama with the game's female lead, but he totally swapped up his strategy, especially after catching that solid advice from the angel bro. So he locks in putting his master plan into motion and asks if her earlier offer about getting to know each other is still a thing. At first, she just blue screens, completely baffled by what this dude is even rambling about. Then it clicks. She remembers him simping hard over Elnor. She even recalls the absolute struggle it took just to get his attention. Plus, those wild rumors about him dating that weird chick and how he literally stepped up to the plate for her against all the haters. She can vividly picture the exact look Elnor had on her face back then, and now this guy is gently reaching his hand out to her. She figures his old game plan completely flopped, so his fresh strategy is farming maximum jealousy. Now watch this pivot. Things are about to get crazy spicy at this total sham of a dungeon academy. Standing in the dark, Elia asks if he is absolutely positive about this sketchy run. He tells her to keep the faith alive. He reminds her he definitely remembers when she tried to clock him. He lays down the law if she wants to squat up now. She has to follow his exact shot calling. Right on cue, a totally nightmare-fuel creature spawns directly in front of them. The beast steps out of the shadows ready to chomp them into pieces. The vibe instantly tanks when two more of those freaky mobs drop straight from the ceiling. Dowd barks out that their main weak spot is the neck. He orders her to focus the body and completely ignore the wings. The short-haired girl absorbs the info and immediately dashes into the fray. Super annoyed, she yells at him to quit backseating and actually throw hands. He quickly warns her that two daggers are speeding in from both sides, so parrying is her only play. She totally listens to the call-out and swats the daggers away at the absolute last second. Those blades were laced with paralyzing poison, and the next heavy attack is swiping from her right. Now she has to dodge 3 projectiles. He yells at her to freeze until he hits a quick count of 3. The second he finishes, he calls out a massive blindside attack coming from behind. Everything plays out exactly like he predicted. 2 bizarre mobs start spamming attacks on loop. The whole setup has her raging because he clearly knows he and the entire boss pattern but is not lifting a single finger. Honestly, he wants to join in, but he literally cannot. He is just basic extra with garbage F-rank stats. Since this is a safe tutorial match, his desperate survival passive will not trigger whatsoever. He scrambles to figure out how to activate it, mostly because dodging this stuff requires sweaty frame, perfect execution. Suddenly, he spots her sprinting full speed at him, blade drawn. Check out this absolute panic, he figures. He trolled her way too hard, and now she's about to end his whole run. In reality, Elia is just rushing over to shield him from a mob creeping up behind him. She is fully prepared to shred anything that steps up to her shot caller. He is absolutely mind-blown by the insane speed she bursts out with. Her flawless carry job is so goated that they end up shattering the high score. She's completely lost. After all, she essentially soloed the entire room and somehow still crushed the test record. A two-person challenge getting completely steamrolled by one girl is insane, but he just brushes it off, claiming they just had crazy good luck purely to troll her. He warns her the next zone is going to be a total sweat fest, but this duo is absolutely locked in. Without either of them noticing, a mage is actively streaming Elia's run through a magical artifact. It is Percy, the big boss of the spell creation department. Turns out the top-tier examiners are watching these students like absolute hawks today. This scar dude feels like he just struck pure gold watching this duo pop off. Someone asks if he is hyper-focusing on the girl, but he says his eyes are locked onto the boy. Percy instantly claps back, calling the kid a total fraud, just completely getting carried by his partner. But the scarred guy stands his ground. She never breaks that record totally solo. Casuals just see the girl as the heavy hitter, but Duwood is absolutely the secret sauce here. God tier, positioning perfect shot calls and literally refusing to drag her down. The proof is right there. Every single play was big-brained and icy cold against any threat. Knowing he is right, he dares Percy to throw down a bet on this wild duo. Suddenly, a huge voice drops from above, revealing instructor Conrad Valtador himself. Now picture this, he announces he and the spell director just locked in a crazy bet. They want to see if this duo can smash the next high score. Conrad casually drops that this old record was set during their own freshman year. If they pull it off, they score a free favor from Percy. But he says they can totally back out right now if the heat is too crazy. Honestly, their current score is already sick anyway. But our main guy steps up without flinching. He promises they can casually crush that goal. The mage absolutely loses her mind at his cockiness. Conrad, though, is all in on the kids winning. Meanwhile, the girl with glasses knows her buddy just came out here to blow off some steam. But the vibe is getting way too intense now. Tossing a bottle up, Elnor admits there is something she is desperately trying to remember. Word on the street is a literal demon runs in the Tristan bloodline, giving them that goated talent. But the trade-off is brutal, random spikes of pure madness, savage rage, and totally losing touch with reality. So no matter how overpowered they get, every Tristan family member crashes out and dies a miserable death. Right now, she wants to drop some heavy lore on her friend, but totally chickens out at the last second. She plays it off, pretending she just needs to chill. Her glasses-wearing friend then randomly mentions two freshmen teaming up. It is specifically Duwood and the warrior candidate, the exact same girl who squared up with him during that crazy duel. They must have partied up since this specific dungeon straight up demands a duo. Elnor thinks this timing is super sus, needing a second to let the news actually sink in. Trying to stay calm is completely out the window. She demands her friend guide her to their location right now. Back in the dungeon, Aaliyah grips her sword, asking what his endgame is here. She respects his skills, but she needs to know if betting the farm for a high score is actually worth it. His swagger is honestly super impressive. She figures he has a master plan cooking. Meanwhile, Duwood already knows these fake mobs are basically free EXP because their attack patterns are completely scripted and predictable. Since he cannot exactly leak the cheat sheet, he just says he is rolling the dice on her raw power. Conrad is absolutely hyped, telling them he is about to crank this final stage to max level. A harder mode means way more points. Percy immediately gets salty hearing about this max difficulty stunt. She scolds him for heavily relying on his teammate, but our duo is fully locked in now. Conrad is seriously so tempted to pull the trigger on this. Now Duwood just needs to keep the warrior candidate focused and totally cool. He asks Aaliyah to blindly trust the process, reminding her he has kept them alive this whole time. Off to the side, the mage loudly sips her tea, genuinely disgusted by Conrad. She remembers him pulling this exact same toxic stunt years ago. But the green-haired instructor just knows this duo will clutch up even if things get incredibly messy. He is super confident, plus he knows he can always just bail them out if they actually wipe. Conrad straight up turns on nightmare mode, demanding they prove their hype. Seeing Duwood hold his ground, Aaliyah decides to ride or die with him. The dice are cast, literally no going back now. Whining changes nothing, so it is time to sweat. And watch this. Conrad cranks the dial so high that Duwood's system instantly flashes a fatal danger warning. A literal second, it detects a lethal threat. His goated hidden power unlocks. Now he is completely juiced up and ready to destroy anything moving, which is a massive W since he has to drop these giant raid bosses made of pure energy. The moment our boy throws his first strike, Conrad completely loses it. Even Aaliyah gets super hyped watching him finally lock in. Facing down this absolutely absurd power, the monsters literally start whimpering. He is throwing hands with so much crazy confidence, totally erasing that weak, useless kid image from earlier. Everyone realizes he was basically smurfing to lay low. Watching this absolute clinic, Conrad admits he really does not blame Percy anymore. Honestly, he'd be thinking the exact same thing if he hadn't seen this glow up himself. He points out that as the monsters get beefier, the kid is leveling up right alongside them. Basically, everyone is getting buffed at the same time. Right on cue, the two students go absolutely goblin mode and wipe the floor with these monsters. The warrior candidate is straight up flexing, leaving a whole trail of wrecked monsters behind her. Size does not matter. Whatever it takes to drop these absolute beasts, they are doing it. These two are completely locked in as a duo. Our boy readies the signature Tristan family sword stance. The second he drops that Lavolpe technique, it is straight up curtains for the monster. They are just showing off some god-tier synergy right now. And just like that, they actually shatter the all-time record. But wait, one last threat pops up, so he yells at D-Wood to duck. A crazy bright flash lights up the dark. Right after, a massive boom echoes through the whole zone like something just got nuked. Out of nowhere, Conrad steps in. Dude is so hyped, he literally could not sit back anymore. He tells his student they just dropped a completely untouchable record. And obviously, he gives massive props to the warrior candidate too. Then he drops the flex. He totally won his bet with the mage. His student's prize is renting out top-tier loot from the visionary vault, plus cashing in a massive favor from the head of wizardry. The duo is hyped because ordinary students definitely do not score perks like this. The girl asks why he is always so chill. No matter what goes down, he acts like he already read the entire script ahead of time. He is sitting there thinking, yeah, because I literally do know all the spoilers. Suddenly, she holds her hand out for a fist bump. Normal bestie stuff, right? Our main character thinks she is just trolling, but nope, dead serious. With zero way out, he awkwardly bumps her fist and actually scores some major brownie points. Her curiosity stat levels up to 5, putting her dangerously close to the trust zone. Looking totally stoked, she walks off, tossing a quick "see you tomorrow" over her shoulder. While he is buffering, someone right next to him mutters that the girl is either super friendly or completely weird. He nods along instantly, then nearly drops dead, realizing Elnor, the student council president, is right there. After spying on their little chat, Elnor asks if our guy is actually into the freshman. He checks his stats, no danger warning, meaning she's not about to end his run. Honestly, he has zero clue why she is acting so territorial when they are not even dating. But the second she drops the whole "I will only ask once" line, his danger radar goes absolutely crazy. He calls her president and hits her with the ultimate bluff, claiming she was the only girl on his mind during training. He drops that line and practically prays to the system she buys this massive lie. She totally freezes up, flustered, saying he cannot just spit out random riz like that. Even he is standing there totally shocked that he actually pulled off that crazy line. But wild enough, she completely falls for it, actually believing he was totally obsessing over her. Then she crosses her arms and demands to know exactly why he was thinking about her. He instantly starts sweating, completely losing his ability to speak properly, and she instantly assumes this is just some messy situationship. He is practically a statue when she tells him to sort out his actual priorities. But then she tells him to chill out, saying she just swung by to drop something off. She shoves a letter into his hands, and honestly, it could be a love confession or a literal death threat, especially since this plotline was definitely not in the original game. She orders him to keep the envelope sealed until he is totally alone. That suspicious little rule just makes him sweat even harder about what is inside. He finally pops it open. And boom, she wants him as her date to the freshman party. Honestly, being her +1 is not even the scariest part. You gotta feel for the guy. The real issue is that rejecting her triggers a massive penalty, completely tanking her affection points. While he is having a mental breakdown over this, there is a loud knock at his door. He swings it open, only to find his training partner standing right there. And wild enough, she is clutching a little letter of her own. He is absolutely stunned that she pulled up with the exact same game plan. She hits him with a wink, whispers it is a secret, and claims she decided on this during their training arc. Then she starts fidgeting like crazy, hyping him up to just read the paper already. Yep, he is officially cooked. Every single person in this timeline is completely unhinged. Hands shaking, he unfolds the paper, already knowing he is about to get hit with another invite. And sure enough, bingo. A direct invite to be her date for the party. This is a massive yikes. Now our boy has to pick between the literal final boss and the female lead. The math is not mathing. 0% of this crazy drama ever happened in the original storyline. Raging about the plot won't save him now, with both letters staring him right in the face. I desperately need a way out. If I actually pick Elnor, I instantly become a major villain in the female lead's eyes. But honestly, if I choose Elia, the final boss will literally try to murder me. So my only real option here is to fake it till I make it and recruit both of them at the exact same time. This whole mess is only happening because both girls are still in that awkward phase where they just find me slightly interesting. People are already swarming the venue as the party kicks off. The main hall is filling up crazy fast, getting totally packed with guests. Elia totally hates the noise, calls the place a literal slaughterhouse. But at the same time, she thanks me for actually tagging along. I try playing it cool, forcing myself to just breathe. And just like that, the two of us start walking slowly right through the middle of the hall. I had to blow all my saved points for this, but the crazy plan actually worked out. I managed to buy a clone so I could somehow pull off this goated double date. The only catch. This clone has multiple personalities, so I gotta pick one that actually acts somewhat like me. I am absolutely terrified someone might spot both of us in the same room and get super suspicious. Because of that massive risk, I decide to lock in the serious night setting, making sure my clone stays dead silent the whole time. The roar coming from that creature gives me massive secondhand embarrassment. The carriage slowly inches forward while the guards yell at the huge crowd to make way. It is only one monster out there, but it totally looks like they wanted to run some quick tests before the thing escaped. I realize this kicks off the main event, meaning I need to move ridiculously fast right now if I actually want to survive. Fingers crossed this double date doesn't flop. I even bought special pheromones so I wouldn't look like some basic extra. The stage is totally set. Clone takes the female lead and I babysit the final boss. Right away, Elnor notices a weird scent on me. I play it off casually, telling her it is probably just the random flowers nearby. The thing is, she knows for a fact that smell is coming straight from my clothes and it is driving her absolutely crazy. Seeing her blush proves those special pheromones are actually completely busted. The system instantly confirms the effect worked perfectly while she tries her hardest to act like she is not vibing with me. Getting super flustered, Elnor asks how she never noticed I was actually cute before. She even admits I am way more amazing than she ever imagined. Trying to play it off, she suggests we hit up the festival to check out the food stalls. I figure my clone and Elia should be meeting up right about now, so I seriously need to make sure we do not run into them. While I am sweating over my next move, she seems completely lost in her own little world. I think to myself, as long as things stay exactly like this, we dodge a bad ending. Since me and my clone gotta keep these girls distracted, hitting up the food stalls sounds like a genuinely top-tier plan. With that decided, the two of us head over to a wild boar skewer stand. Feeling a bit shy, she asks if I stalked her preferences beforehand or if picking this spot was just pure coincidence. I definitely feel like I should keep some distance from her, but honestly, I kinda want to stay close. Most importantly, though, I really have to make absolutely sure Elia stays far away from us. After grabbing some snacks, Elnor suddenly decides she wants to go shopping for accessories. Seeing this as a golden opportunity, I grab the ugliest gift possible, hoping it totally tanks her romantic interest in me. The hilarious part, handing her that trash present totally backfired. She ends up loving it anyway. Right after that, I bring up our future class tracks at the academy. When I mention I am locking in theology, she tells me to rethink it, swearing it would be a massive waste if I didn't join the night division. I tell her there is something super specific I really need to learn in the theology track. Hyped up, she asks what could have possibly caught my attention over there. I explain that to protect my world, mastering this one specific skill is entirely non-negotiable. Holy skills are literally perfect for my survival and will be insanely crucial down the line. I just gotta prep for that upcoming secret society incident, a wild event where the chapter boss is weirdly weak. Elnor asks if this is exactly why I have been trying so hard to get close to her lately. She asks if it is because of her family's curse, the one driving every member totally insane. Mental training fails, but I already know the perfect cheat code. The only cure is the angel's blessing, a rare miracle, where two archangels grant power to the exact same person. Pulling that off is basically impossible, which is exactly why the Tristan family is still so deeply feared. Elnor demands to know my real intentions, and without missing a single beat, I tell her the person I want to protect is her. I tell her that failing to protect her would literally be the same as dying to me. Smugly, she claims she knew it all along, though she admits I am just a really weird guy. I realize I accidentally spilled the whole truth to her, but figure that should be enough plot armor for now. Over in another part of the city, a bunch of cages stuffed with wild monsters are chilling on display. These beasts look absolutely tilted. Walking next to him, Aaliyah low-key thinks the guy is mad at her because he is giving zero energy. She knows she gotta riz him up to snag intel on their rival family. Problem is, she has zero clue how to handle a total edgelord like him. Honestly, talking to guys is just not in her skill tree. And to make things worse, this girl wanders into super sketchy territory, totally boxed in by cage-raging absolute beasts. Calling out how these freaks are just academy lab rats, she proves the professors seriously need to touch grass. Some of these things are absolute units and ridiculously cracked, making the whole setup pure nightmare fuel. A couple are literally just roaming free. Her curiosity wins out though, and she casually strolls right up to one. Big mistake, this thing is unhinged. Alarms start blaring like crazy as the creature growls, flashing some seriously gnarly teeth. She completely blue screens, totally frozen in pure panic. Catching the threat, the clone absolutely launches himself, tackling her out of the drop zone. That monster spits a roar so deafening it echoes all the way back to where our main character is kicking it with the other girl. Literally, everyone in the hall feels that heavy aggro energy. Now Leah is stuck in a super awkward spot, with her savior just laying right on top of her. She asks what his deal is, but he strictly hits her with just doing my job. Completely baffled, she realizes he usually yaps nonstop but is now acting super sus. She desperately tries to read the room, but there is zero time for that. More monsters are breaking out of their cages. Right amidst the chaos, she screams his name as these wild mobs flood out, each looking scarier than the last. With her protector knocked out cold, Aaliyah has to solo this level to protect them both. Out of options, she frantically scans the floor and manages to hack together a weapon to defend herself. She is high-key grateful he saved her, knowing she has to pull her own weight if they want to survive. While he stays knocked out completely, she squares up with the mobs. Meanwhile, Dwid dashes off, claiming he will solo the event, telling Elnor to fetch a priest. Totally lost, Elnor yells at him to pause and explain this crazy situation. He just throws her a dead serious look, saying they gotta protect the noobs. Meanwhile, down in the basement, young Alia is looking entirely out of stamina. A second later, the clone reboots, asking if she actually soloed all those escaped monsters. Completely wiped, she just thanks him for reviving her interest in this guy, definitely leveling up. She casually drops that one massive beast bailed, and he instantly clicks that the bear roar was exactly that. Super annoyed, she bets the boss monster is already hitting the first floor, and they have to jump it right now. Problem is, her mana is literally zero, his priority. The main quest. A fail state means tanking a massive penalty. He has to clutch this run no matter what. Somebody screams to hold the line, until the professors and knights drop in. Another guy spams a barrier spell, yelling at everyone to keep it from shattering. But that beast is full aggro, ready to do literally whatever to breach and feast on these students. Neither the dean nor Professor Conrad are anywhere in sight, and honestly, casting the angel blessing is way out of their league anyway. Elnor is mauling, basically begging the priest to step up, but he totally dodges, claiming his hands are tied. The priest claims the cavalry is dropping in soon, so they just gotta camp. He makes it super obvious he thought using these mobs for experiments was a trash idea from day one. While she wastes her breath arguing, Dwid sprints past. He announces he is taking the aggro himself. Seeing the sheer audacity of this freshman, the priest figures he better turn back and drop the main character syndrome. This guy thinks it is completely wild that a student is trying to flex without knowing how a blessing works. But check out what happens next. Our guy already secured a divine ultimatum, perfectly combined with the priest's own rosary. His active skill tree now features asceticism and sacred study. Boom, the system flashes a critical danger warning with massive instant death vibes, and right in front of him stands the exact reason his totally broken X-rank survival passive triggered. The dude holding the shield asks what his deal is, and Dwid just says he is just stalling for time. Thanks to that asceticism buff, all his spare stat points get dumped straight into Constitution. That feeds him just enough juice to pop the holy barrier. Holding up his shield, the boss bear tries literally everything to smash through but whiffs every single hit. He dumps his entire stamina bar just to keep that holy wall completely solid. The whole squad is shook, realizing he is actually casting the angel blessing. The beast keeps throwing an absolute tantrum, but Dwid holds the line like an absolute brick wall. The guy in back is losing his mind, screaming that even high-level priests struggle to pull off a cracked move like that. Elnor just stands there completely jaw-dropped at the goated play Dwid is making. The barrier somehow holds up while this massive monster just keeps slamming it. You can literally tell this priest is hating, just praying that absolute beast shatters the barrier. This girl gets super salty, asking if this dude is seriously a professor since he literally refuses to even lift one finger. Out of nowhere, she steps up and absolutely cold clocks this useless professor. She brushes it off, claiming she took forever because she was knocked out downstairs. Then she looks over, spots the blessing doing its thing, and cannot even compute if that is actually Dawood. Aaliyah points out he is not even a war priest, adding it takes a solid decade of grinding to wield magic that's sick. Everyone just stares in pure shock, totally hyped by the insane grind he is showing off. Elnor flashes back to when he mentioned needing to study up in the theology department. His warning about literally dying if he failed to protect her keeps living rent-free in her head. Seeing his current flex, it looks like he was being completely dead-ass about having no shady motives. Aaliyah explains that even with a stored blessing, there is a hard cap on his power control. Ultimately, bagging that student council spot must have been his absolute endgame. He is straight up risking his entire life just to save the Tristan family and Lady Elnor. Honestly, anybody watching can see him going total try-hard mode against a boss he knows he cannot actually beat. Aaliyah knows there is literally no other reason for him to go this hard. Elnor felt that exact same vibe early on. But since she was always a lone wolf, trusting anyone was tough. She was totally fed up with getting hyped, only to get ghosted. She was totally done pretending anyone would ever tank a hit for her. But get this, one wild moment flips her reality entirely. Unlocking some crazy inner courage, she grips her sword and full sends it straight at the monster. While Dawood pushes past his absolute limits to stall this absolute unit, giving it his all. Ignoring the messy fallout, Aelia catches Elnor pulling a move she has never done before. Everyone is completely shook because the girl who always soloed everything is now carrying someone else. This white-haired, red-eyed girl feels like she finally found a win worth chasing. She launches herself right at the beast, determined to pack it up for good. Right here, the monster's crazy high power level does not even matter. She's dropping it no matter what, and that massive boss instantly feels the heavy impact of her strike. Even he is totally mind-blown by the goated energy she drops to pin it down. She manages to wreck a huge, highly dangerous mob with just one hit. So yeah, this is the god-tier power of the Tristan family heir. Watching her throw down, he realizes this is the legit, authentic Tristan swordsmanship. But right after, the beast respawns and aggroes onto her again. They look pretty evenly matched at first, till she decides to just spam max power into her combos. Once that monster gets targeted, it is literally cooked. The boss tanks it briefly, but she is already lining up the finisher. Her hits are absolutely savage, but she has this one specific combo that is straight up nightmare fuel. Spotting an opening, she drops it with zero chill. She triggers her famous ultimate skill Tramontana. It is so ridiculously broken that basically nobody has ever survived seeing it. Spectating from far away, Dawood realizes her original technique hits on a totally different level compared to the bootleg version he copied. In the canon timeline, Elnor never joins this messy raid, and system screens start popping off, throwing warnings about the derailed plotline. He figures out those sketchy professors who wanted to run experiments on live mobs were entirely linked to the Tristan family. If Elnor stepped in, she would basically catch all the heat for her family, and she definitely needs to touch grass before playing politics. While he tries to download all this info, Aaliyah starts getting the other students out of the drop zone. She yells at everyone to log out fast, telling them to hurry up and fall back. Assuming they finally cleared the boss, Elnor starts to sheath her weapon. Totally drained, she looks at the protagonist and says the raid is done. But things go south super fast, and he yells out to warn her. A whole new giant beast crashes through the fire, and he screams at her to check her 6. Hearing his panic, her eyes go wide. By the time she actually turns around, he is already right there, jumping in to cover her back like a true tank. He pops his angelic shield again to guard her whatever the cost. Meanwhile, this absolutely cursed-looking monster just starts crawling right out of the burning flames. When she turns and sees this mess, she realizes the whole situation just totally crashed in literally 1 second. She watches the guy who risked his whole health bar to block for her take a massive hit and just collapse. The crazy impact sends his vision straight into a blackout screen, and by the time he finally comes to in a completely random spot, as he blinks his eyes open, a voice asks if he is awake. But this guy only cares about one thing: did they pack up those monsters, and is Elnor safe? The voice assures him the monsters are totally cooked, and yeah, the Tristan girl is doing just fine. Flipping casually through a book, she adds that the rest of the students escaped without a single scratch. She asks if he is shocked to see her, explaining she just had to seize this chance, since they could not chat after the duels. He knows exactly who this is: Adelante Swansong, the absolute goated immortal. She has been around for hundreds of years. He figures she showed up because he used those angelic blessings. But nope, she's actually here to deliver some bad news and some even worse news. Flashing a gentle smile, she asks which one he wants to hear first. He decides to just get the bad news out of the way. She kicks things off by saying he's about to pull more aggro and attention than any student in history here. That is literally his worst nightmare, but he braces himself to hear the rest of it. Her face gets super serious as she asks just how much he actually knows about all this. She finds his whole vibe fascinating. Mentioning literal demons, he does not even flinch. He points out he should probably keep his mouth shut since he has zero clue what her endgame is. Plus, he reminds her he is the only guy here without an assigned class, so he cannot even hit up regular lessons. She nods, saying she totally gets why he is so salty about the whole setup. She makes it clear she had to do some major damage control after the recent drama. The current leadership has completely fumbled the bag and lost control of society. Because of that mess, they are super desperate for OP talent, willing to search the entire map to find them. Tired of her yapping, he cuts her off and drops a huge truth bomb, proving he already knows about the Tribal Alliance staging a coup. He brings up the recent shift in the Sacred Empire, catching her off guard when he asks if that is the real reason behind everything. She admits he is right, the Golden Triangle is their biggest headache right now, even though they act like super friendly neighbors on paper. There is this cutthroat underground war happening to snipe top talent. Most students are totally clueless, but the whole continent is already catching the fallout. This Golden Triangle means the 3 massive superpowers: the Elnor Academy, the Tribal Alliance, and the Sacred Empire. Suddenly, it clicks every single mess. He stepped in to put a massive target on his back from these powers. Yet weirdly enough, despite all the hype, none of them have made a move yet. It is almost like someone is aggressively silencing people from leaking any details. Now watch this. Adelante thinks his brain is massive for putting this together, especially when he asks if holding this much aggro is fatal. She straight up warns him the world could literally end. Total absolute chaos any second. If that happens, an all-out bloodbath will pop off between the three superpowers. She then pulls out this random object and asks if he recognizes the crest on it. She admits this is exactly why she brought up demons earlier, and he instantly spots the Purifier seal. Just by reading his reaction, she knows his lore knowledge is way too high. He knows perfectly well the Purifiers are this crazy secret demon-worshipping cult operating right out of the shadows. He asks why she is leaking so many top-secret details, especially when she knows she could easily be targeted again. Since she cannot say everything out loud, she hands him an item and he immediately realizes it is an interdimensional key. This is a stupidly busted item literally capable of ripping open portals to other worlds. Seeing his face drop, she knows he totally got the message, telling him to guard the gift and actually deliver results. She adds that if he proves his worth, she will slide him even better loot later on. She snaps her fingers, making it crystal clear that this entire chat stays strictly off the record. She also randomly drops that she already knows about his ties to the warrior candidate and Lady Tristan. Honestly, though, he is not even in the mood right now to deal with those kinds of questions. She hopes they keep vibing well because if he fails to pull his weight, things will go south incredibly fast. Flashing a smile, she casually adds that if he messes up, the world really ends. He finds it insanely creepy, talking about literal apocalyptic stakes with a straight face. In her head, this master plan only works with those three involved. Anyway, shortly after that intense chat, he dips. He walks off completely zoned out about the world ending. Clutching his new item, he tells himself to touch grass and worry later. Because honestly, he never expected to score loot, this absolutely goated something that should be flat out impossible for a player. But on his way out, he bumps straight into Conrad. The professor tells the guy he was actually out here hunting for him. The Night Dean explains that even without a set schedule, he cannot just keep skipping classes and dodging the grind. Just like that. He hands our boy a paper with a temporary assignment. Starting tomorrow, he has to hit classes with a very specific squad. And the second he glances at that roster, the reality hits. Our guy is actually going to have to lock in this time. He somehow ends up grouped with the class president Elnor right alongside the vice president Elia. The instant he sees who his groupmates are, memories of the literal end of the world just come flooding right back. Suddenly, it hits him. He is taking classes right alongside those upperclassmen. While the professor explains the lesson, Elnor straight up interrupts, asking why he is diving so deep into theory. She argues that kind of info is only useful in an actual fight, but Elia shuts that down, claiming the professor is completely right. As those two argue over who is right, our main guy is trapped in the middle, praying this stays a harmless debate. Things quickly heat up, though. It turns into a full-blown shouting match where both absolutely look ready to throw hands. A real brawl between the president and vice president seems totally inevitable. Despite their different views, both of them look ready to settle this with their fists. That is when he finally decides to speak up, asking them to just chill out so he can actually focus on class. Big mistake. He walks right into the crossfire, and both girls immediately demand that he pick a side. The situation gets sticky real fast, especially since they keep drawing the entire class's attention straight to him. To make matters worse, they keep this up the entire lesson. Now all the other students are giving him super dirty looks. On the bright side, he manages to level up his trust with Lady Tristan even further. The system shows his Tristan family sword technique proficiency hitting 58%. His basic deep breathing technique also catches a solid level boost. These two skills perfectly complement each other. Considering the physical side effects, they literally form the best possible combo. And the only person genuinely capable of using this broken combination properly is Elnor. That is exactly why she ends up as the final boss, thanks to her monstrous close combat ability. Plus, his reward for the warrior candidate is finally ready to claim. The rule of evil is still active on those rankings, directly exerting its heavy influence over the good people tied to him. He keeps trying to figure out what all this actually means, but hold that thought, their next class throws them straight into the forest for survival training. The class is led by the Night Dean Conrad. He explains exactly how everything is going to work. They just need to enter the forest and bring back literally anything they think might be useful. He adds that he will be evaluating the students right alongside the council president. Naturally, Elnor is not thrilled about that idea at all. The warrior candidate thinks these instructions are way too vague, but the teacher basically tells her to go touch grass. Life is all about hands-on experience. Our guy knows the old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But right now, he has absolutely no clue how to balance all this madness. He is still completely zoned out when Elia walks right up asking if they can team up. Trying to be polite, he suggests she stick with her own crew, but she just smiles, saying he's her friend too. In reality, he just wants to stay as far away from her as humanly possible, keeping her locked in with the main cast. She puts on a super cute face, trying to play it sweet, insisting it would not hurt for them to go together. But he is not in the mood today. He cuts her down instantly, telling her they are not even that close. She stands there looking totally shattered, never expecting to hear words like that coming from him. It takes a second for reality to hit. She looks genuinely heartbroken after everything they have actually been through together. Once she finally accepts his harsh answer, her expression shifts. She tells him it is a shame, but he must know what he is doing. She turns her back and walks away, leaving him completely behind. Meanwhile, one of the girls in Elia's group is absolutely heated about how he treated her friend. She glares daggers at him. Right then, our MC realizes he definitely went a little too far and upset her, and that is when another guy steps up to confront him. Dao just wants to mind his own business, but these people will not leave him alone. Now this dude demands to know his real deal with the warrior candidate. Enter Tylan Armand. He is the strongest guy in class after Elia and is destined to become a mid-tier boss later on. Acting all annoyed, he claims someone goated like Elia should not be wasting her precious time talking to a nobody like Dowd. Our MC spots a sudden status update since making this guy mad just perfectly fulfilled one of the system conditions. Tylan asks if that previous duel was just a total fake, but our MC realizes he can actually play this future boss for his own advantage. Looking him dead in the eye without a single shred of fear, the MC tells him that duel was 100% real. He adds that Tylan is just coping because he cannot stand seeing his idol get crushed so easily, making the massive gap between them crystal clear. While those two argue, Elia just glances back from a distance to watch the drama unfold. With a totally mocking tone, the MC tells him it totally sucks watching your ultimate goal just get blown out of the water. The power gap between these two way more obvious now. That is when the blonde guy steps up and proposes a little bet. Whoever bags the highest score on this task takes the win. For our main character, this offer plays right into his hands. Meanwhile, the whole situation feels completely dead to the girl. She is stuck standing by that insanely annoying teacher watching everyone get ready. To make matters worse, this guy actually wants to chat. He brings up the grading help he asked for. He seriously wants to know if she is just taking this entire job as an absolute joke. And he demands to know why she handed full marks to a student who has not even submitted a single thing yet. Her only response: he earned it. The guy flat out deserves that goated grade. She even drops that if he is salty about her evaluation, he should just observe the student up close to verify it himself. When she tries to dip, the teacher slaps a hand on her shoulder, stopping her. Conrad claims you can judge them perfectly fine from a distance. Yeah, it is painfully obvious she disagrees. Watching all this go down while clutching a cross, the young girl realizes her friend is acting super weird today. Her eyes stay dead, locked on the exact spot where the warrior candidate is throwing down. The girl who was always super sweet is suddenly acting incredibly impatient. Even the local monsters are taking a massive beating for it, just for having the nerve to get in her way. A red-haired guy points out that the absolute strongest monsters are all clumping together. The crew agrees, realizing that is the rare ore zone. Grab some gems now, and they might just save their failing grades. But right after that big brain plan, somebody screams out. Something is seriously off with the warrior candidate right now. Pay attention to her aura. What used to be totally chill now feels incredibly heavy. Her classmate definitely notices those bad vibes spilling over, and no matter how hard she tries to play it cool, she is furious. So the classmate calmly walks up, asking how she is holding up. Trying to act like everything is perfectly fine, Aaliyah brushes it off, claiming nothing major even happened. Her friend pushes harder, offering a hand if something is eating at her. But Aaliyah just turns her back, telling her she has zero clue. Even so, the girl stays worried. She can clearly sense the massive storm of mixed emotions all bottled up inside her bestie. After everything, the short-haired girl sits under a tree looking seriously depressed. She had zero clue she was being that obvious. And she knows lying to Trisha is a losing game. Since they are finally alone, her friend just asks her straight up, asking if Dawood is really still ghosting her right now. Aaliyah honestly cannot figure out why he is acting so insanely cold, especially since they literally survived so much together. Building this massive wall between them makes absolutely zero sense to her. But when her friend drops a hint that he might not have meant it like that, she pauses, trying to figure out what she actually means. Trisha lays out the straight facts. He is just some guy from a minor barony while she is a literal warrior candidate, making her realize the guy is actually just trying to protect her reputation. Mission accomplished for Trisha as that toxic energy totally vanishes. Meanwhile, our main character keeps sprinting to secure that sick bet he made with Talon. He knows the blonde dude is at his absolute breaking point, especially after taking such a massive public loss. He feels totally disgraced. Complete humiliation. As that dark influence takes hold of Talon, our boy finally gets his reward, triggering the rule of evil and unlocking a brand new command. With a dead serious look, Talon swears to turn this useless trash into literal dust. And not gonna lie, his spear actually grazes the target a few times. Talon is completely unhinged, absolutely obsessed with landing a hit. He screams at the main character to quit acting like a child, fight like a real man, and stop running away. Wondering why he is so hyped to get the last hit when he took the worst beating, the main character suddenly tells him to stop, making it look like he is finally out of gas. Hearing the plea, Talon acts incredibly generous. He suggests they just split the rewards 50-50 then, but that little breather, a complete troll move. Just a trick to catch his breath and tilt his opponent even more. The chase immediately starts back up. Determined to end his whole career, pouring every ounce of murderous rage into it, he winds up his strongest attack, getting ready to throw that spear. After building insane momentum, he launches the weapon straight at our boy. But wait for it, what happens next leaves Talon completely shook. Honestly, he is not the only one freaking out. Dawood is absolutely stunned too. Both of them freeze up as the warrior candidate flashes in catching that deadly spear right out of thin air. She instantly warns the blonde guy to back the heck away from her friend, assuming he actually wants to live. She makes it crystal clear, keep your dirty hands completely off her guy. Dawood realizes this is their very first meeting since the monster breakout, and to make sure Talon gets the memo, she steps right into his space. Pressing her naked blade right against his throat, she promises there will not be a next time. And yeah, this is literally their first time crossing paths since she completely wiped the floor with him. Meanwhile, Dowd is out here wondering where she even spawned from. The blonde dude tries playing it cool, saying it's so awesome seeing her again. She totally skips the NPC dialogue, demanding why he's targeting Dowd. She asks if he's seriously dumb enough to mess with her friend, and she's not just dropping a verbal warning. No hesitation. She straight up sweeps his legs. With this dude flat on the floor, the intimidation totally dials up. Sword pointed right at him, she demands a massive apology for coming after the absolutely wrong guy. Blondie literally cannot compute why she keeps defending a guy completely out of her league. She snaps back that her squad is none of his damn business. Then she asks if he wants to get knocked out in a single hit again, just like last time. Hearing that triggers brutal flashbacks of getting totally crushed, out of options. He drops to his knees instantly. Realizing he was about to get completely and utterly clapped, he apologizes to Dowd. She finally sheathes her sword while he aggressively swears to stay far away. Watching this scene play out, I mean, let's be real, the warrior candidate is goated at teaching lessons. Now, he's low-key wondering if she even considers them friends anymore. He figures they're still kind of buddies, but surviving this assignment with a sick grade is priority number one. Before long, someone else comes rolling up to him. Trisha stops right in front of him, asking if they've met before and decides to do a formal introduction, which is totally pointless since he already knows she's besties with Ilya and always takes absolute ages to get to the point. Both here and in the original lore, she basically talks in endless circles just to drop the most annoying news ever. Hard pass. He literally just turns around and walks away. From Trisha's point of view, this guy is completely unhinged, especially since he made Ilya fight Tylan instead of just talking it out. Now it's super obvious he's the actual menace, and the vibes only get worse when he spots what's waiting up ahead. His eyes go super wide, completely shook by the sight. Instructor Conrad is big mad after throwing down with the student council president who is currently sulking on the dirt. The instructor explains she kept demanding to enter the forest, so he told her to get past him and she completely took the L. He tells Dowd he's doing way better than before, but knows the guy is capping hard, trying to keep his chill. Dowd says he's literally just here grinding for points while the president keeps her eyes clamped shut. Still, he's got to flex his loot. Jackpot. He pops open his pouch, revealing an absolutely insane stash, making Percy thirsty for the whole drop. Remembering their little wish agreement, he asks why he can't just score a few extra points from her. But just as he considers instantly speedrunning to the magic instructor, he gets interrupted by Trisha yet again. At least this time, she chats with the professor who clears everyone to leave and tells her to go watch over Elnor. The girl then asks Dowd to look after Ilya, but drops a solid warning to stop acting so nice, because Ilya basically loses her mind whenever he gets mentioned. He appreciates the heads up even if it sounded straight up like a threat. Trapped, having literally no other option, he says he'll try his absolute best. She thinks he better try insanely hard, this in one piece casually popping her healing spell. As she patches Elnor up, she starts stressing over her bestie, knowing Ilya could totally lose control and cross some massive lines. Meanwhile, Dowd heads straight to the spell creation department to farm more points. Percy is totally shocked that he already wants to cash in his one wish. He claims he needs something from the actual goddess of spell creation, and she instantly sees right through his weak riz. While chatting, he notices a bunch of random students nearby looking super awkward and salty, just because he exists in their space. To clap the upcoming Purifier boss, he needs a totally stacked loadout, and she agrees to put in the work since the Chancellor asked. She drops a warning she'll grant it as long as he doesn't use it. For anything toxic, then asks what he wants. Right on cue, he notices he just unlocked a sweet reward from Ilya's gift, but he keeps his poker face on lock. That item can literally be traded for some goated skills in the point shop, and the shop menu is already refreshed. Since Tylan and Arman are rocking that negative seal, he can pop Rule of Evil once, but the stats aren't really better than the standard drops. He knows his current build is way too weak for the Purifier, which is why he makes his big request now. Get this, he looks her dead in the eye and says he needs a cannon. A cannon hyped enough to literally nuke the entire academy. The absolute second she hears that she figures he needs to touch grass. Total silence. He repeats his request with a deadpan stare, acting like it's a basic survival need. She just stares at him in pure shock. She is completely shook, unable to even process this. Still, she says she can make it. The real issue is where Bro actually plans on dropping this thing. He flashes the paper at her, flexing that she has to do normal requests. He hypes her up, saying this is easy for the spellcraft dean. Percy gets pretty salty, pointing out that crafting a literal weapon is not normal. But hey, a promise is a promise. So our guy swears he won't hurt civilians, just one specific target. Honestly, that just makes her way more stressed. But she figures Bro has his reasons. He did carry them through that crazy monster raid, and now he just wants a personal cannon. He drops a thank you while she's still low-key stunned the Chancellor greenlit his whole harem situation. She literally claims this squad is going to save the world. Then she gets super hyped, just totally yapping to herself right in front of him. Bro tells her to touch grass and chill, reminding her she promised to grant his wish and needs to lock in. He also brings up that Vision Vault loot she promised him and Elia, demanding she fork it over right on the spot. This is a massive win. With the cannon fully approved, all he actually needs now are those crafting materials. And since he can just farm those using the interdimensional key, everything is going totally according to his master plan. Everything is super chill until a mysterious dude hollers at him. This guy drops some seriously heavy aura. He actually demands his name. But before our boy can even open his mouth, the dude just drops his full name. Flashing a smirk, he acts like bumping into each other here is some crazy coincidence. Then he introduces himself as Galair, manager of the Purifying House Charity Foundation. Our guy just finds that hilarious, knowing damn well that foundation is straight up for money laundering. In reality, he is the Purifier chapter head and raging fire leader. Galair mentions hearing wild rumors about our guy. Because of that, he wants to slide him a fancy gold card. As props for soloing those monsters, a total flex not just anyone could pull off. The Purifier claims it has been forever since he saw such a goated student, and he is super hyped for his future. Then he straight up invites him to dinner to vibe, saying they have some extra business to chat about. You gotta understand how crazy this is. Originally, this exact guy was supposed to pull up and harass Aaliyah instead. The fact that he targeted him directly makes our guy realize the game system officially sees him as the main character. Meanwhile, Galair holds a totally blank poker face waiting for a yes. Still buffering, our guy just mutters he will think about it. The dude smoothly walks off, dropping that he will be waiting at the Twilight Eyes restaurant in exactly 3 days. This is completely cooked. Even though he said he would think about it, Galair just totally ignored his answer. Twilight Eyes is a super fancy spot right by the academy, meaning there is zero chance to dodge this main event. Just like before, the choice is simple. But honestly, the risk factors are absolutely off the charts. He already scrapped with the mercs hunting Miss Tristan Elnor herself and even that warrior candidate. Plus, Yuria and the mid-boss are totally in the mix now. But honestly, wiping the floor with this Purifier is not impossible. Making it way worse, the Chancellor dropping lore about the actual apocalypse keeps living rent-free in his head. He still does not get why he is stuck playing Aaliyah's role, guessing this whole plot got derailed from day one. Whatever, he decides to just focus on the current quest and ignore the rest. With literally zero other options, he just knocks on the room door. Realizing nobody is answering and they are taking way too long, he has to shout out for Elnor to see if she's actually home. Figuring out who it is, she asks what he wants. Hearing her voice, he says she does not even need to open up, he just wants to chat about something super fast. Standing in the hallway, he asks if she is free in 3 days. That question totally catches her slipping, especially since she has company, and her roommate casually reminds her to drop her library books off on time. Fact is, she had not even started reading them. She was basically letting them collect dust. She literally only checked them out for the sick cover art. While her friend kept yapping, she pressed a finger to her lips, basically begging her to shut up. Outside, Bro just kept pushing, asking if she could clear her schedule to hang out today. She asked if it was just going to be the two of them and where they were going. He straight up dropped the location, a spot called Twilight Eyes. The exact second her friend caught that name, she whispered that it was a famous god-tier date spot. So she asked why he even wanted to take her, and he paused, promising he would drop a solid reason soon. He claimed he could only explain once they were totally alone, so she just stood there, frozen behind the door while he waited out there. When Aaliyah was younger, she used to absolutely love chilling in this massive flower field. But today she's low-key fuming because her older brother decided to troll her again. Even with him spamming apologies and swearing he is done picking on her, she is still completely triggered and not having it. She demands to know what kind of sick joke involves shoving your own sister down a hill. Honestly, she just wants him to touch grass and leave her be. He tries claiming it was just a harmless prank, says he wants her to level up and get strong so nobody else can ever beat her up. His mean prank ends with an apology and some cookies. He also flexes that thanks to the Baron, he might skip a few ranks and get promoted straight to Apprentice Knight. When she asks what is next, he drops the bomb. He is heading straight to the battlefield. He claims he wants to grind for some real-world XP and see things from a fresh perspective. To her, this whole speech just sounds like pure delusion. To her, this guy is literally just a goofy troll who spends all day annoying his little sister. How could he ever become a guardian? She asks if he is actually going to survive this war, and he just laughs it off, joking that his RNG might just run out. Totally heated, she snaps back that she hopes his luck totally tanks and he never returns. Then she could finally chill in peace without him griefing her 24/7. He knows she is just salty right now. Those harsh words are really just his little sister throwing a major tantrum. So he promises that once he becomes a guardian, he will always protect her. But that entire wholesome moment, just a dream. It is the exact same flashback dream she always gets before somebody starts shouting her name to wake her up. Stepping out, looking completely dead inside, she demands to know what is happening. Realizing he just ruined her sleep schedule, our MC quickly apologizes. He admits he is still totally lagging behind on how city life works. He hands over a snack and begs her to cut him some slack. He is literally just a clueless country bumpkin trying to survive. Turns out he also apologizes for dropping that they were not friends earlier. He brought these cookies over just because he taste tested them himself. They were absolutely goated, so he figured his friend would totally vibe with them too. She sighs and tells him that spamming apologies is definitely not a very cool friend move. Either way, she turns her back and tells him to go log off and sleep, but there is no way he is letting this sick opportunity slip through his fingers. Dropping the friend card, he tells her he is in desperate need of a carry right now and begs her to come somewhere with him. He swears this is a top-tier emergency. She just stares back with the most annoyed face ever, fully convinced his brain has actually lagged out for good this time. Meanwhile, the student council president is busy grinding through her administrative quests. Right now, they are totally maxing out their efforts to prep the new teaching materials. She also needs to double-check the budget fees for every single club. Her friend chimes in, pointing out that the only major quest left is dealing with the new transfer students. Apparently, they are taking in someone from the Tribal Alliance. She is almost certainly part of the faction that got totally wiped during the coup. The council president, Elnor, knows she is a tribal chief's daughter. That means her entire family is basically stuck in perma-exile right now. A bunch of her advisors are tagging along as well. But honestly, her entire family is just camping out and seeking refuge right here at the academy. The girl with glasses asks Elnor if she knows who Lil Garuda is. She figures Elnor must have heard of the guy since his clout is absolutely massive. However, the council president looks like she could not care less about this entire conversation. She glances at the calendar and realizes the upcoming schedule is looking pretty doomed. Next semester, a literal saint from the Holy Empire is dropping into the academy. What really tilts her is that this saint is arriving completely solo. It looks like the chancellor pulled some crazy strings behind the scenes regarding the envoys. Pretty soon, the academy will be hosting a literal saint and a tribal chief's daughter under the exact same roof. You just know the academy admins are cooking up some secret plot. This totally enrages Elnor, mostly because she is clueless about these sudden server updates. Every single day, her rivals keep getting massive buffs. She stares off, looking totally lost. Then suddenly mutters she forgot something important. The girl with glasses does not get why she is sweating this so much, considering she has only been here for 2 days. She is just in a totally rotten mood today. Meanwhile, way up high in a massive observatory, a couple is taking in the late-night view. Our MC hypes up how insanely good the view is from this height. He points out how perfectly clear the sky looks right now, but his companion is totally not vibing with it. She asks if any of this setup is actually required. He admits he is out of options. This is the only strat that will work to pull this off, so he begs her to just bear with him. Using this catapult, he basically looted from the Vision Armory they can hit their target. All he has to do now is smack the launch button. Totally freaking out, the girl demands to know what kind of crazy stunt he is planning to pull at this hour. Even though this is a heavily restricted admin zone, he is packing a super secret VIP pass card handed straight over by the Chancellor. So as long as they launch themselves high enough into the air, they will nail the perfect landing spot. Despite how totally awkward his companion is acting right now, he tells Alia to pay super close attention and keep her eyes completely open. He warns her to stay hyper-focused. Why? Because he has already locked onto the exact coordinates of the interdimensional portal. Right then, a massive light burst swallows the whole area. He smirks, flashes his card, and tells her it is totally under control. He says they are going in right now. Tells her to chill out because he is sticking right by her side. Out of nowhere, she remembers her brother's voice, asking if she was going to keep crying, wondering where all that fear came from. The MC tells her to keep her eyes locked on him. Things are about to get sketchy. But he promises she does not need to stress. He He will always have her back. And right after that, they completely vanish into thin air. The second they hit the ground, the MC warns her their time is running out. He makes it crystal clear they are in the interdimensional realm now. Do not touch a single thing or things could get deadly. He starts parkouring across these floating rocks. Freaking out, the terrified girl demands to know what on earth he is doing. He tells her to ignore the busted gravity they need to climb higher. She instantly asks what he is even looking for up there. He says she will find out soon enough, just keep jumping. Honestly, she is absolutely terrified right now. Think about it, one slip and it is literally game over. Trying to trust this guy, she squeezes her eyes shut and leaps. Except everything goes sideways and she actually starts falling. Being flipped upside down in midair is a sick, horrible feeling. Her brain instantly jumps to the worst-case scenario. She is straight up losing her mind, flashing back to when she was little, leaving everything behind, sneaking out through the back door to escape back then. She asked her brother, "Are we really leaving mom and dad behind?" Dead serious. He just said yes, promising he would handle it later. He warned her, if you ever see an apocalypse descendant, hide immediately. But she was way too stressed about his safety. Crying, she confessed she was not some clueless idiot. She knew their parents were never coming back. She needed to prove she was not just a little kid anymore. She knew exactly what was happening. They only had each other left. That is why they had to escape together. Hearing that absolutely shattered him, but it was just not possible. He made it clear staying together was a death sentence. They would both be in massive danger, because besides being her brother, he was also a guardian. So she did not need to stress over that. Her only job was getting as far away as possible. He promised they would reunite at his training hill once she was safe. He literally begged her to calm down. Just run, he swore he would be right behind her. Then right in the middle of pouring her heart out, someone grabs her arm. The second she realizes the MC caught her, she demands to know what just happened. What about that extreme gravity he hyped up? He tells her she is falling super slowly and needs to chill. She will get used to it soon. Then he tells her to look up, their target is right in front of them. The ghost of the Gregory Pavilion fully visible as they float on the rock. He just wants her to help him out. Just hold a few items. Super suspicious, she asks what the actual deal is and what she is doing with this junk. He explains they gotta dip soon, so they are using that bag, flashing a huge smile. He asks if she is tracking all this. She finds the whole vibe incredibly sketchy, staring up at nothing but sky. Then things get seriously creepy, like something is about to swallow them whole. And honestly, it feels exactly like that. You can practically feel the jaws closing in. Right then, he warns her it is almost time to pull out. Honestly, this ugly giant beast just looks like a colossal fish. He yells at her to loot everything it drops. Out of nowhere, she is actually bagging up the foul breath coming out of this disgusting beast. The wind goes crazy, whipping so hard it feels like they will get blasted away any second. Meanwhile, this giant monster unhinges its jaw, ready to gulp them both down in one single bite. Then blink and you miss it, they are back on solid ground. The timing was goated, perfectly matching the card duration. He grabs her hand, checking if she is all right or hurt anywhere. Absolutely heated, she yanks her hand back, dripping in gross monster slime. She tells him to shut his mouth, ranting that this entire insane plan and their escape was staged by him from day one. He admits he calculated everything, just to sneakily swipe that Gregory ghost loot. Feeling completely played, she demands to know why he did this. Why keep the interdimensional realm a secret? Refusing to hear his weak excuses, she slams the loot bag down, screaming that she is done playing fetch. She cannot believe she woke up today just to farm disgusting monster slime. Even giving him the absolute cold shoulder, her affection level and interest in him are totally spiking. Her interest levels just spiked drastically, which is honestly super weird. He finds it completely wild that she got so hyped out of nowhere. To her, though, the reason is painfully obvious. They literally just floated pressed up against each other under a romantic pink sky. After wrapping things up, he goes hunting for Adelante, finding her totally drenched in sweat as she ties up her hair. She glances at his bag and asks if that is what she thinks it is. Obviously, the guy cannot read her mind. Even so, he explains that it is basically a psychic entity. Hearing that, she asks if he actually went into the interdimensional realm. Holding the card, he replies that he already knew she handed him that gift for this exact reason. To be completely honest, she says she never expected him to actually use the card this fast and takes the chance to ask him something. What happened to his hair? He just smiles, explaining that Percy blasted him with a literal lightning bolt. He tells her they just came to hand over the sick ectoplasm they farmed from the interdimensional realm. He mentions that seeing a literal spiritual entity must have totally freaked Percy out. Even as a witch, she's a massive coward. First, he asks if that amount cuts it. Then he reminds her about that promise for another goated gift if she was satisfied. She says the magic tower would drop a massive fortune for it, but he makes it clear he does not want cash. He wants a favor. Since psychic entities are basically the consciousness of legendary past figures, he asks her to go ahead and infuse his item with one. If she does that, the consciousness inside the item will gradually wake up and just get ridiculously overpowered. She really wants to know the reason for all this, pointing out that he already completely wrecked a mercenary while totally unarmed, and he one-shotted a warrior candidate. She notes he has been brawling monsters recently too, asking why he is so obsessed with grinding stats right now. He thinks to himself that he desperately needs the buff because the main story bosses are all absolute demon level. At the end of the day, the plot literally revolves around the two girls beside him, but he knows there is zero chance he can explain that. So he completely changes the subject, straight up asking why she is so into him. He knows she has a ton of questions floating around, like how on earth he found the interdimensional realm location. Sure, he definitely knows things a normal freshman student should absolutely never know. Lately, he feels like the whole academy has basically started revolving around him, even if that might be stretching it a bit. However, he genuinely believes that his studies and daily routine are totally being heavily influenced by Adelante. It feels like she is pushing him to do whatever he wants, so he just wants to know what she actually expects going forward. Still, Adelante is literally the chancellor. She makes it incredibly clear she does not appreciate the casual tone he is using right now. Even so, she can easily see the kid knows exactly what he is doing. That completely explains why she gives him this special treatment. She playfully suggests that maybe it is honestly just because she finds him cute. He thinks that is completely ridiculous since he hasn't done a single cute thing. Either way, she officially agrees to help infuse the item. Meanwhile, he shifts focus to the main quest of this chapter, the Purifier. He has to finish this specific quest before doing anything else. Since his companion already showed up at the meetup spot, he asks if the student council president has been waiting a super long time. Putting on some lip gloss, she replies that she just got there. Then she sarcastically adds she's only been waiting 6 whole hours. He finds it wild because somehow she looks totally different from the day they had freshman orientation. She explains it is her very first time hitting up a place like this, so she figured finding a nearby spot to prep was better. Right after, she asks if this is his first time actually leaving the academy grounds. Hearing that question, our guy instantly looks away. She's getting so comfortable around him that she casually grabs his hand, practically dragging him along. She tells him they really need to hurry because the line is absolutely massive and there are a ton of people waiting. He seriously never imagined Twilight's color would be this packed. With so many people ahead of them, he genuinely doubts they will ever get inside. But get this. He suddenly spots Tylan, wondering what the heck that guy is even doing here. Tylan gets totally flustered the second he sees our protagonist, quickly explaining that he is just working a part-time gig at the venue. Suddenly, he glances to the side and realizes the student council president is standing right there with him. Just like anyone else would, he completely freaks out, asking why on earth the two of them are hanging out together. When asked what is going on, our MC almost blurts out that it is not a date. Luckily, he catches himself before spilling too much. She turns straight to the staff member, asking if she can use her student council president authority to just skip the line inside. Suddenly, the MC notices the guy rocking a really weird necklace and immediately decides to ask him about it. The guy says he got it from the Eureka Foundation, that shady place entirely controlled by the Marchioness. So the MC tells him not to wear it today, making sure the rest of the staff takes theirs off too. They bounce out of there. With both Elnor and Eli's affection levels hyped up, the main plot is shifting hard. He has to flip Marquis Riverback's entire mindset because there is zero chance that dude just eats and dips peacefully. And the storyline takes a crazy left turn. This so-called purifier locks his sights right on him. Luckily, he does not have to stress about getting jumped right out of the gate. The guy tells Elnor he needs to borrow the kid for a quick private chat. He whispers about taking the boy to a VIP room. She hears him swear it will only take 1 second. Smiling, he notes how tight the kid is with the Tristan family daughter. Sipping some bougie drink, the guy starts talking. He cuts the fluff, asks if the kid even knows why he got dragged here. Our MC stops playing games and guesses some total atrocity like reviving a demon or some other wild villain scheme. Security is trashed during the full moon festival, so he is straight up planning a total bloodbath. Drop monsters everywhere, then hire mercenaries to pack up the royal knights. All this just to wake the demons sleeping in the Tristan bloodline, plus all the monster attacks they are staging. The kid drops a bomb. He already leaked these exact plans to the Chancellor, so what is the guy's excuse now? Suddenly, it makes perfect sense why the Prophet actually vibes with this kid. He looks soft, but his brain is absolutely goated. This dude is definitely not your average student. After spitting straight facts, the kid shuts up and lets the man yap. The Purifier is honestly impressed, but reminds him his goons already bagged the girl. A massive blind spot the kid definitely did not see coming. But here is the catch. What this bozo fails to realize is that girl is an absolute menace. Just before it hits the fan, they tell her to follow security. It is completely laughable they thought she would swallow that lie. They claim she has to follow them because demon worshippers are invading. Knowing her history of going totally feral, one dude actually has the nerve to grab her shoulder and quote Imperial law. She literally warns them she's trying so hard not to do something incredibly stupid. Then one clown says she needs to be taken alive. Absolutely seeing red, she grabs his head with pure brute force. Next thing you know, she is mopping the floor and the tables using this guy's face. That savage beatdown instantly grabs the attention of every mercenary sent to bag her. Since they need her alive, she is not holding back a single ounce of power. They yell out to stick to the plan, rough her up if needed, except she has zero intention of just roughing them up. Unlike these scrubs, she does not need to hold back. That gives her a free pass to completely crash out and deliver a brutal lesson. But the harder she wrecks them, the more she unlocks her inner feral side. They try to block and push back, but it is totally useless. Defending against her is basically impossible, because absolutely nothing is stopping her now. She will just keep handing out beatings until she feels satisfied, paying them back for ruining her night out. Even the dude acting super tough a minute ago is completely speechless. Watching the president go off with her sword, she treats this entire massacre like a fun side quest. Her affection levels spike straight into the friendship zone, while her madness meter finally chills out. Still salty, she complains their date got totally trashed, so he owes her another run. Right on cue, a system screen pops up with a new quest, bringing Elnor's dad, Gideon Tristan, into the mix. He has no idea why her dad is suddenly watching him, but right now, just gotta clear the quest. Gripping a demon essence, this self-proclaimed purifier complains that he did not plan on popping it this early. Our MC has absolutely zero clue where he got that drop. He yells at his partner, do not let him swallow that stone. But the guy just unhinges his jaw, swallows it, and claims he is getting God's grace. A chill conversation turns into pure nightmare fuel. The explosion is absolutely massive. He barely drags himself out of the smoking rubble. Now he has to survive this guy's mess. The mutated freak mutters about not wanting to use the stone before dropping the prophet. Swallowing that demon stone turns him into an absolute hideous monstrosity. Whenever a demonoid eats an essence, they get that temporary, completely broken demon power buff. He is literally just a Chapter 1 boss, proving this world actively wants our MC dead. Now his mission is to taking down the Purifier. Plus, he needs to carry the team and keep civilian casualties strictly at zero. The monster screeches loudly, announcing the so-called time for purification is finally here. But wait, this dude isn't even their biggest headache. Those crazy cultists Elnor just wiped out. Yeah, they are respawning right now. Out of nowhere, somebody hits this goofy move called Professor Dawood's Lethal Piercing Thrust. Dropping such a ridiculously extra name for an attack is wild. Then he hears the kid asking to rate the technique he just spammed. Dawood tells the boy using that necklace would have totally cooked him anyway. Tylan asks if the Marquis orchestrated this entire massive disaster. The kid is super hyped up, begging to know his master's next big brain play. Dawood replies that he is handling this, he must protect the citizens and completely stop the Marquis. He orders Tylan to just run. Meanwhile, the president asks the kid where the Marquis might be camping out. Dawood explains the Marquis and those cultists share one sick goal, spreading absolute chaos. They even gave their twisted holy land an edgy name. They call the demon realm Pandemonium. That is exactly where the Marquis is heading, ready to shatter the barrier if he cannot fully nuke it. Right then, the demon creature charges its attack, gathering a dark energy orb in its massive palm. It looks tiny, but trust me, it packs enough ridiculous firepower to wipe the map. While this dude stands there acting invincible, thinking he's about to unleash absolute hell, an annoying voice cuts in and tells him to shut his mouth. The Purifier gets super salty, realizing he was tracked this easily. Our MC straight up calls him totally predictable, since he absorbed that evil demon buff. Of course, he would run straight to the one spot where pure evil is locked away. Big mistake. The monster smirks, claiming this saves him the hassle of hunting them down later. He remembers his quest to kidnap the Tristan daughter. While that ugly mob keeps yapping, our MC grabs the girl. He tells her that no matter what hits the fan, they both absolutely have to survive this. She's still processing him, actually trusting her this much, but she feels forced to step up. That is pure Tristan family honor. And she absolutely refuses to fail someone who believes in her. The monster sees she is ready to scrap, finding it totally weird that she is rushing into this clash. But Elnor has zero time for his small talk. No hesitation. She cuts straight to the action, her favorite method. Charging in, she launches an insane assault. While she throws hands, the MC sprints across the ground, pulling aggro to buy her room. The Purifier yells at him to stop running. Right on cue, he eats a massive dark energy blast at Dawood. But our guy completely read that move and flawlessly dodges the hit. Turns out he is playing bait on purpose to keep the Purifier totally distracted. This basically hands Elnor a massive W in the fight. Several more blasts get spammed right at Dawood. You gotta love this. The Purifier is mauling over how this bug keeps kiting him instead of fighting fair. He straight up ignores Elnor to chase Dawood. He screams at them to stop running and fight fair. Elnor gets intensely pissed off about being ignored, treating her like some low-level NPC. Suddenly, the boss totally loses it and buffs his massive area of effect. He blasts them both back with insane knockback. Not even the Tristan prodigy can keep her footing here. Is this sick move called Dark Fang, making it feel like your actual heart is going to explode. Game over. After dumping all that power, he just screams. Nasty energy slowly locks onto Dawood. This incoming strike is going to hit like a truck. Obviously, he has to pop his protective shield. And that instantly grabs Elnor's attention. The strike is so busted, it one-shots his divine protection. Worst of all, the MC tanks it directly. The impact sends him flying, leaving him barely awake. The demon just laughs, admitting the kid has crazy defense stats. Right then, Elnor promises to buy time, but begs him to get up fast. The Purifier mocks her tryhard energy, joking that these two make a totally perfect couple. Hearing that actually hits her. She realizes she has basically been getting hard carried by him this entire time. She flashes back to every single time he risked his own HP to save hers, always going absolutely all out for her even off-screen. He literally unlocked goated abilities just to keep her safe. Now everything is just shattered across the dirt. But that vitality necklace she gifted him buffs his resistance. She swears to trust him until the very end. The Purifier ruthlessly mocks them, joking that he almost cried and asks if they are done yapping. But Elnor has one final question for him. She straight up asks if he thinks she and the guy on the ground actually make a good couple. The villain finds it completely unhinged. He thinks the question is totally pointless. But honestly, her vibe is kind of creepy because she is dead set on this whole housewife thing. The second they dip, Elnor gets super emotional hearing all that. And honestly, it just hypes her up even more to go on the offensive. She goes absolute goblin mode and charges the monster. The girl just starts handing out brutal beatdowns with zero mercy. Her hits land dead on. He tries to block, but it is completely useless. Her speed is just sick. She busts out her ultimate Tramontana technique. The enemy barely even has a split second to react. Her one goal right now is dropping this monster so she can check on Dowd immediately after. Because of that, her attack speed just keeps ramping up. The monster gets absolutely shredded, and it is all thanks to that supposedly pathetic student. He complains that this bug should have just crawled off and died already. He demands to know what else they are hiding. Nearby, the smaller mobs are getting totally wiped out. The witch on her broom and Conrad basically have the whole zone locked down. Elia is just relieved they grouped up because things would have been way too sketchy if they had missed that timing. They both know that without them showing up, this whole raid would have totally wiped. Getting up completely beat to hell, he spots something Talion dropped on the ground. It hurts like crazy, but he just has to hold on a little bit longer. While he processes that Elnor crashes face first right next to him, totally wrecked. Of course, the enemy refuses to believe she is actually the student council president, but that hesitation makes the villain drop his guard for one crucial second. That is the exact moment he takes a hit. Striking the demon, he asks out loud if they even have a plan left. Elnor watches it all go down. Barely processing the chaos, she is forced to watch this gross monster pull off something totally disgusting right in front of her. Luckily, his deadly charm skill triggers right then, leaving him barely able to read the system alerts. Watch closely, everything points to Elnor finally showing her true colors here. Plus, bought the random hamster on screen. He remembers exactly what the monster said. Dowd crouches down in absolute agony while the girl stands there rocking a seriously gorgeous dress. Dowd turns his head to get a better look. Part of his system just went offline and his skills got completely hijacked. He realizes that thing basically used Elnor as a meat suit to spawn itself. Honestly, it is way easier to win people over like this instead of acting totally evil. Now the two of them are locked in a stare-down. The higher their favorability stats, the stronger that effect gets. Then out of absolutely nowhere, Tristan straight up confesses she loves him. Time literally pauses. Dowd watches his own wound just instantly vanish and his mind flashes back to one of the most goated fighters in the world. Having a powerhouse like that act so friendly is honestly just surreal. He has zero clue how this is going to butterfly affect the future, but he has to take any buff he can get, so he straight up pops that skill duplication ticket. The pressure is completely insane. It feels like his skull might actually burst and his skin is tearing off. That entity is hard locked to Elnor. He needs her in this fight, and he is definitely going to need her later. Then the woman finally moves. Dowd just stands there looking totally clueless as she casually tells him she will see him around. She casually drops that she will investigate his whole background later. The monster screams about wiping him off the map right before a massive explosion pops off. Just to be completely sure, the beast checks the blast zone. The ground where that attack landed is totally shattered into deep cracks. The monster wonders where the kid even went just as a giant shadow looms right behind his back. Sensing that heavy aggro, he whips around to look. With those glowing red eyes, Dowd looks like an absolute menace. A sick surge of energy starts gathering high up in the sky. Wait for it, another massive explosion drops. And as that smoke finally clears, it reveals who actually delivered that heavy nuke. The demon cannot even process what he is seeing. It is Dowd slamming straight into the dirt with that new broken skill. A system alert flashes up warning about critical mortal danger. The prompt confirms his new Pandemonium Overlord skill is officially active. This gives him a completely busted damage buff against demons for 5 minutes. The monster completely loses it, screaming that it is impossible for some pathetic kid to unlock this kind of god-tier power. Dowd rushes the boss head-on. The monster is straight up tilting right now, ranting that the prophet never mentioned a single thing about this happening. That is when Dowd just unleashes an absolutely relentless combo. He tells the demon to get back up because round 2 starts right now. The beast ends up totally floored, just pure agonizing pain. Meanwhile, Dowd is completely seeing red over this whole mess. But there is still one thing the monster just cannot compute. He demands to know how some random kid can spam his exact same power except way stronger. Right then, that pain just spikes even worse. He starts, bro is remembering the insane grind it took to unlock this power. Seeing a random kid flex that exact same energy has him absolutely raging. The monster completely loses his mind. A system pop-up warns that his demonic energy is fully unleashed. Now these two are squaring off, both crashing out on that exact same pure rage. Our main character tightens his fist. He preps another heavy strike. And just like that, their insane auras violently collide midair. Dowd is clearly not out here to touch grass. Meanwhile, this monster wants to brutally teach him what happens when you step to a demon. They start throwing hands in a completely goated showdown. The demon actually manages to snatch our boy right by the head. The beast screams at him to die already, but Dowd casually tanks the hit with his wing. The demon is totally shook. He literally cannot believe it. He demands to know how some nobody possesses sick divine energy like that. Dowd totally leaves him on read and answers with a savage front kick. That impact hits so heavy it launches the monster backward. Dowd immediately follows up, dropping a ruthless combo to completely pack the demon up. The beast simply cannot tank it. He starts screaming out, giving him zero time to breathe. Our guy preps to drop the absolute finisher. Total shock. The demon cannot wrap his head around why this beatdown is happening. Dowd skips the villain monologue and goes fully beast mode. But suddenly, a system alert flashes. His skill timer just hit 0. Then it clicks. He still has a clutch item sitting in his inventory. He realizes he totally forgot to return that specific object. He snaps. The monster recovers and loudly swears he will ruin Dowd. He screams at mid-run, charging forward like a total psycho. Our main character just claps back. Those are some extremely weak last words. Game over. The demon finally realizes his run is officially done. I honestly wonder if everyone else predicted this totally embarrassing wipeout. Deep down, he knew he was cooked from the start. Immediately after, a shiny new alert pops up. Main quest completely cleared. Dowd just stares at the screen, wondering if that insane loot drop is real. Later on, the blue-haired woman demands our main character spill every single fact about the Grey Demon. Bro is completely lost and asks what she even means by that. She instantly fires back, demanding to know if he truly has zero connection to the monster. Meanwhile, down the hallway, somebody asks if the blood bag is prepped. The medical squad replies they are setting it up right now. A doctor asks for her heart rate. The nurse anxiously warns it just dropped below 50. Turns out the white-haired girl is the one hospitalized in supercritical condition. Amidst the chaos, the panic-stricken staff demands to know where the priest is. One of the Grey Demon's most broken skills is pure corruption. She explains that ability was cast over a massive area right near Dowd. She points out that he basically became the main event for everyone watching. Then she straight up asks if he planned this whole viral moment from the start. He replies that he is totally done being a background character, but surviving that demon encounter was just dumb luck. She explains the Grey Demon is literally the goated final boss of Pandemonium. That is exactly why she assumed it picked Elnor, the student council president, to be its vessel. He just quietly absorbs all this heavy lore. He tries to stand up, but his leg is absolutely wrecked. The woman sincerely thanks him for keeping the Academy and Elnor safe. He instantly collapses back down. She warns him to listen closely because this next lore drop is strictly classified info. Now he is resting his head right in the lady's lap. She explains the previous hero caused those demon fragments to scatter and glitch out across the globe. Naturally, the other pieces act like magnets toward that central host. And just yesterday, the Grey Demon temporarily woke up from sleep mode. Even in the canon timeline, those other vessels triggered a total disaster, the infamous Red Knight incident caused by the Crimson Demon. When you really analyze it, the only guaranteed constants in this whole plot are Elnor and Elia. She says the Holy Empire runs an insane spy network and already doxed all the potential vessel candidates. Since Elnor made the list, they pulled major strings to gather every single candidate at this exact same school. He asks if cramming that many walking time bombs into one building is just completely unhinged. She explains there was only one single run where a vessel actually caught feelings. When that happened, the demon fragment was totally deleted, proving that romance basically counters the seed of destruction. Dowd mentally decides this messy plotline has zero to do with his life, but then she drops a bomb. The Grey Demon is apparently a huge fan of his. Totally creeped out, he asks what she means. She simply replies that treating his wounds revealed everything. He tries coping, suggesting the demon just felt bad for him. She instantly shuts that down. The actual motive does not matter at all. This is the crazy part. She insists the beast showed an insanely weird level of interest in our guy. She takes this perfect opening to hype up his unique stats. Then she hits him with a single massive favor. He needs to figure out how to chill these demon vessels out and keep them under total control. The guy absolutely panics and says no way, but she promises full backup so he can literally riz them up without a single hitch. She tells him to stop stressing. Every candidate so far is a woman and they are all insanely drop-dead gorgeous. In her head, this is an absolute win. After all, they are all top-tier women. She calls him seriously lucky. If he already managed to charm that gray demon, he can definitely win over literally any girl out there. Our main guy seriously hates the vibe of this conversation. She tells him to just use whatever means necessary. He asks if she seriously expects him to go around wooing every single demon vessel. She insists his riz is goated if he actually tries. With a deep bow, she asks him to literally save humanity. Our guy replies that he already knows his answer. He asks what happens if he totally fails. She flat out says humanity gets wiped and the whole world goes straight in the trash. Plus, an evil demon empire takes over. Right then, he realizes he absolutely despises the devs who made this broken game. Meanwhile, fresh flowers bloom outside a bright bedroom window. The silver-haired girl slowly starts waking up. She sits straight up on the bed. She looks around the room, totally confused about where she is. Outside the door, a girl mentions she skipped class yesterday just to visit, trying to sneak her way inside. The girl with glasses warns she might be out cold for a while. But the second she walks in, she sees her friend sitting right up. President Elnor asks if her friend actually skipped class. The girl admits she was just incredibly stressed about her. She honestly thought her friend was a goner. Then she asks how insanely hard she pushed herself during that crazy fight. Completely ignoring the question, Elnor asks about Dawood. Her brown-haired friend explains the guy already got discharged from the hospital. She says he barely even got scratched. But the president was in such rough shape that everyone thought it was totally over for her. Elnor asks again if Dawood really just bounced from the hospital already. Her friend flashes back to seeing her completely motionless on that stretcher. She had warned Dawood that things would go south fast if Elnor stayed unconscious. She actually threatened to end our main guy right there. But Dawood just fired back that President Elnor is way too tough to die. He promised she would bounce back in days. Plus, he pointed out, the Tristan family is definitely not weak enough to risk everything over a guy like him. Back in the present, she asks if the president can even hold a pen. The paperwork is getting absolutely out of hand. Elnor groans, reminding her she is literally still a patient. Ignoring that completely, her friend mentions two specific people making a massive scene lately. The first one is St. Lucen. Elnor finds that weird, asking if she was supposed to join the academy next semester instead. Her friend explains that after the latest incident, the Holy Empire and their whole Inquisitor squad are officially on the move. Now this is where it gets spicy. She says she hates even bringing up the second person, which makes the president super curious. The girl admits she hates talking about this guy, but she has to warn her. It is a dude who literally only causes absolute chaos. She drops the bomb. Gideon is joining the academy soon. The president mutters something under her breath, but her friend completely misses it. Meanwhile, we cut to a distant city with houses stretching for miles. Someone comments on how sick it is to see such a lively town. A girl tells him to shut the window because the noise is annoying. The blonde guy laughs that a literal saint actually hates the sound of people. He says it would make sense if she spent her whole life trapped in some dark chapel. The vibe instantly gets heavy, so he speaks up again. He asks her to just close the window then. He really just wants to vibe in this tiny bit of peace for a little longer. St. Lucen points out that a demon worshipper and a saint sharing a room is completely unhinged. She asks if he seriously expects any actual peace. The blonde guy fires back. He honestly thought she would have touched grass and gotten slightly friendlier by now. She shuts that down. They are only teaming up for a shared goal, and she has zero interest in being besties. She asks if he actually thinks friendship is possible here. Not when humans are holding her leash and fate is entirely controlling his life. At the end of the day, they are both trapped. She thinks back on her past and mutters that she has someone to save. Meanwhile, out in the country, a man mentions that parent visit day is approaching fast. But with harvest season peaking, leaving the farm is impossible, so they are sending young Herman to the academy instead. His dad gives him one rule: stay completely average and do not stick your neck out. A bunch of people hustle around the farm. The dad says he isn't stressing too hard since Herman has always been a smart kid. He just begs him to avoid unnecessary drama and keep a super low profile. He also jokes that if he manages to bag a girlfriend, he better bring her home for the holidays. He laughs, asking if it isn't about time he finally got a grandkid. Herman just stands there thinking he's just thanking his lucky stars his dad missed that mess. Meanwhile, some student asks, wait, is that Herman playing indentured servant? Glasses guy nods, telling everyone to just holler if they need favors. He totally flexes that these grapes came straight from their master. The main character pops a grape and realizes they are absolutely goated. Everyone else is insanely salty. He brought a whole butler to class. Our boy tells him to touch grass, act normal, and just eat the snacks. But the kid is completely drained by this whole vibe. He quickly realizes he has zero time for small talk. Not after remembering the absolutely unhinged quest that woman dropped on him. Her wild demand echoes in his head, literally seduce the vessels to save humanity from getting wrecked by those demons. That Riz mission lives rent-free in his brain, but sadly, it is far from his only problem right now. The actual threat is the Chapter 2 boss. He seriously needs to start grinding for that epic showdown. In the original lore, this dude would be totally dead. And sure, his parenting was pretty mid, but he is still her dad. Losing Gideon was supposed to trigger the Great Demon Awakening, except she totally speedran the plot and unlocked her first stage early. Suddenly, someone rolls up asking why he looks so pressed. Honestly, keeping his distance from this dude seems like the smartest play. But if they do interact, he has to leak some intel out of him. This right here is the absolute perfect chance to clear the Chapter 2 boss. He demands to know what the guy is doing, completely salty about him messing with his butler. Our guy casually announces he is borrowing his sword for a day. The dude literally drops to his knees, claiming it is an honor. He promises to give the blade back later. Meanwhile, the platinum-haired girl is super triggered, thinking he should have mastered that sword skill already. D-Wood hypes up the Tristan family techniques as totally insane. He admits he would kill to just learn the basic moves. Wildly enough, this is the very first time these two actually vibe on something. She sighs and agrees to help out since her junior asked. Our guy realizes a harsh truth. If he tried coaching Gideon himself, he could only cover the absolute bare minimum basics. Both of them whip around at a new voice. Someone loudly drops that it is crazy seeing the student president actually chilling. The president casually explains that our guy personally asked her to pull up. The girl gets shady, asking why the president one-hands her sword while he needs two. The president just snaps back that who holds it really does not matter. The only flex is who is doing the teaching. The orange-haired girl smirks, bragging that she should definitely tutor him since she was literally a teaching assistant. The president is not having this disrespect. She straight up asks if this girl thinks she is top tier. Catching that killing intent, the girl heavily backpedals. She admits she would absolutely get folded in a real fight. But then she drops a bomb, claiming she totally knows a few of the president's weaknesses. Now watch closely. That immediately pushes the president over the edge. Things get crazy tense as they agree to duel and settle this beef. The rule is super basic. No Tristan family buffs allowed. Platinum hair snarks that the challenger will not even push the president to sweat. Our guy is just standing there utterly baffled. Both of them wanted to be his sensei, and now they are throwing hands. At this rate, that girl is about to get absolutely stomped by the president. The junior talks tough, saying class is in session. The president casually roasts her moves for being too flashy. Boom! The junior suddenly pulls a sick maneuver, pressing her blade right against the president's throat, ready to secure the dub. Nope, the president casually parries the strike and instantly fires back with a massive counterattack. From there, the brawl goes completely off the rails. The junior whines that the president is way too fast and insanely overpowered, calling hacks. The president tells her to quit crying, asking if she seriously plans on losing to a demon. She glares hard at the junior, who is still completely hyped up. Out of nowhere, the junior lands a critical hit. She smugly reminds the president about her sketchy demon family roots, basically saying that no matter how high class she acts in just a few days, that demon is going to completely consume her. Like it or not, time is ticking. The president freezes, thinking about her next move. The junior savagely adds that she is just a walking sacrifice anyway. Then she totally starts charging up her next heavy attack. This freshman goes full sicko mode, bending literal fire. In a blur, she dashes forward, aiming right for the president's head. The president blocks it with 0 seconds to spare. But that insane shockwave shoots off, flying dead straight at our guy and his buddy. He just stands there frozen, completely shook. Elnor yells out that this wild girl clearly cannot even control her own crazy buffs. So Elnor dives right into the danger zone to tank the blast for everyone. She pulls off a clutch save to protect the group. Her reflexes are insane. If those rogue flames had actually connected with our main character, he would have been critically injured. Realizing she nearly caught a body, the freshman aggressively apologizes. His buddy is so traumatized, he literally just collapses. Meanwhile, our guy notices that the president is insanely faster and way stronger than before. He wonders if she's already starting to merge with that shard. The freshman apologizes again, totally admitting she went way overboard. Elnor replies that her sword skills are absolutely goated. She could legitimately be a hero candidate, but she really needs to focus on way more than just swinging a blade. Elnor adds that risking your own allies is completely unacceptable. Totally ignoring the scolding, the freshman just asks where that other guy went. Cut to somewhere else, 0 time to waste messing around. That's our MC, and he needs to get crazy strong no matter what. He knows he has to level up fast, not just his sword skills, but his divine power too. To pull that off, he's going to need a massive favor from the girl sitting right over there eating an apple. Our MC walks up and mentions she looks like she's doing pretty great. That girl just happens to be the saint's sister. Now it's finally time for her to return the favor. She remembers people claiming that grinding this hard would get her absolutely nowhere. They told her waiting around to be saved meant game over, and that leaning on friends would only bring everyone way more pain. They claimed hope is just the warm-up for despair, hoping she finally got the memo. The point was brutal. She had to accept her own fate exactly like her sister did. Back then, she just listened in total silence. The haters used to say the saint's sister was nothing more than a cursed tool. They told her she'd be totally alone until her final breath, the only way to protect everyone. That was Yuria's one and only purpose. She snaps her eyes wide open. Startled, she realizes it was just a sick nightmare. That exact same memory keeps coming back to haunt her. Shaking it off, she takes a bite of the sweet apple in her hand. Savoring the fresh flavor, she tries to just touch grass and forget the past. Turns out she doesn't just have one apple. She's got an entire basket of them. Right then, someone pulls up and totally ruins her peaceful vibe. The MC walks up and asks if she's doing all right. She looks back to see who's bothering her. Instantly, her sword swings straight at his head, but the MC saw it coming and readies up for the attack. She's completely confused why he'd step right into her strike zone. He pushes himself to the limit just to keep up with her insane speed. Without hesitating, she swings at him again. The MC dodges fast. She insists she didn't mean to attack, warning him to back off before he gets wrecked. He blocks her strikes using his own sword. Right then, he notices something off and immediately looks behind him. Her blade comes rushing at him once again, and the MC literally ends up falling backward onto the ground. He mentions she seems in fantastic shape since she pulled off that move perfectly. She's totally caught off guard by his hype speed. The apple even drops out of her mouth. He reminds her he promised to swing by and visit sometimes. A bit annoyed, he asks if she really forgot him, adding that he brought snacks since he didn't know what she liked. He tosses the massive bag of food right over to her. He jokes about always getting a savage welcome, but gets she's just teaching him a lesson. Then he asks if he crashed at a bad time. She suddenly remembers that insanely toxic guy from her past, telling her she'd be alone forever. The MC turns around and says he hopes she likes the food, letting her know he's finally heading out. The past keeps playing on loop. Back when that guy said absolutely no one would ever save her or be her friend. Staring at all that food, she remembers him saying things like this would only bring her way more pain. She just stands there with her mouth wide open, staring at the massive pile of food. She slowly walks over and picks up a piece of bread. She just stares at the carb in her hand. Suddenly, completely unable to hold it in, she breaks down crying. She seriously thought she'd spend the rest of her life totally alone there. He checks his status window. It's actually crazy their relationship already hit level 1, considering how barely they've even talked. Checking the loot, he sees he unlocked the B-rank swordsman focus skill plus a 6-speed boost. Turning off the faucet, he realizes this reward is absolute fire and will synergize perfectly with his other skills. Looking at those notifications, he finally realizes why dealing with Yuria was such a massive headache. The MC warns his friend they're going to be late. But his friend begs for just 5 more minutes. He thinks to himself time to flex his skills against a type of swordsman that didn't even exist in the original lore. Meanwhile, a massive crowd starts hyping up at the venue. A knight steps up and asks an old man if he needs help. But the old guy replies he just genuinely likes walking since it's great for his health. Some people in the crowd start whispering. Looks like the Holy Empire is actually sending representatives this year. Someone else nods along, saying it has to be true since they literally just saw a few Holy Empire knights riding by. Get this. Elsewhere, the crowd is totally shook to see a VIP attending the Open. During the event, students are absolutely tripping over what they are seeing. Everyone is wondering why he even showed up. Word on the street is he never touches grass unless it is wartime. Turns out this absolute unit is the student council president's dad. Gideon asks the guy if he ever gets sick of babysitting kids. The scarred man then wonders if he lost the first Archduke's signature technique. Tristan claps back, saying he is training exactly how he should. Meanwhile, Gideon flexes about literally slicing a mountain in half. But Tristan just brushes it off as a super primitive way to do things. Right on cue, someone grabs the audience's attention. A gorgeous announcer reveals that all matches are being strictly watched by teachers and medics. Tristan tells his buddy to lock in because this year's roster is insanely stacked. She goes on to explain that fighters can pick literally any weapon provided it is wooden. With that established, the competitors roll out. Our MC actually wonders if his video game characters felt this hyped. He figures he probably should have ghosted this whole event, knowing he likely will not catch Gideon's attention anyway. His matchup is against the blonde guy and Dune, who is only jumping in because she is a hero candidate. The announcer tells everyone to grab their gear. Chilling on the sidelines, Ilya seriously questions why the MC is even bothering to compete. She genuinely wonders if he just likes trolling weaklings or if he is being forced into this. The host tells the crowd to get hyped, shouting that they have 1 minute until kickoff. The fighters step up knowing there is only one objective. They have to be the last player standing to bag those sweet points. Anyone cracking the top 10 gets a massive W as well. The young dude begs his master to at least aim for that leaderboard. Those two girls figure the MC is totally chilling with them around, acting completely confident and ready to back him up. Way up high, someone is scanning the entire arena. It is the student council president analyzing every single frame. Her dad just glances back, pretending he does not see a thing. The announcer warns the combatants to get ready for absolute chaos. She gives the green light and the match officially drops. These fighters come out swinging with totally goated determination immediately. Things go from 0 to 100 in seconds. Those first few knockouts are a huge wake-up call for everyone else to stay frosty. But get a load of this, amidst all that chaos, one specific dude is heavily tunneling the MC. Our boy has zero clue why this guy is strictly aggroing him. They lock horns in an insane showdown, so the MC decides to flex a little and try impressing the council president's dad. He triggers a move called Brat Block. Tristan just watches, observing that no matter how hard the MC tries, his form still looks pretty janky. Out of nowhere, somebody yells out that it looks like those two are having a blast. It is a girl rocking a purple cloak, landing a sick kick directly on the MC. He gets caught totally slipping. He is totally shocked when she challenges him out of left field. She unloads another overpowered kick, tagging both the MC and the blonde guy. Our guy suddenly remembers she is actually the second daughter of the Tribal Alliance chief. Meanwhile, the blonde dude ends up tanking the absolute worst of that damage. Both the president and Ilya are totally lost, wondering who this random girl is. The braided girl straight up tells the MC that if he refuses to move, she is attacking first. He realizes she is a total battle junkie, recognizing her martial arts as that signature hand-to-hand style from the Tribal Alliance. Actually, he starts wondering if her stats are higher than Elnor. Meanwhile, the blonde guy tries to process why the MC actually peeled for him mid-fight. The dude asks if he did it because Lilo is in the event too. So the blonde dude swears he will help the MC secure first place no matter what. Then he actually taunts the girl, calling her a noob. He claims he will not let her anywhere near the MC. That just makes things 10 times worse because now she is triggered. She decides to stop holding back against this second-place player. The MC instantly realizes the blonde guy poked the bear and is about to get completely wrecked. Instead, she mocks him, telling him to survive a few more seconds so she can enjoy this. She charges up to unleash another crazy attack. At that exact second, the blonde guy realizes he completely fumbled by provoking her. As her aura explodes, the MC decides to just pop his defenses and let the blonde guy get farmed. The AoE on her strike is so completely cracked that it blows away the bystanders. The blonde guy gets totally wiped out, just kissing the dirt. Now the girl locks her sights dead on the MC. She casually mentions she expected the blonde dude to last longer, but she was totally wrong. Pointing right at him, she admits she is genuinely impressed he tanked her attack. The MC decides it is time to sweat. He figures he might actually catch a dub with his current skill set. Both the president and her dad watch, completely convinced he is cooked. But the second she rushes him, he immediately knows he has zero win condition here. She unloads an absolutely brutal combo. Attack after attack just keeps spamming him. The poor MC is sweating bullets trying to block this absolute barrage. Seeing the writing on the wall, he straight up drops his sword. Game over. He surrenders and calls it quits. Even the girl is totally shook. The teacher actually asks if he is seriously ditching the arena right now. The whole crowd starts calling him a coward, but his classmate actually thinks it was a massive big brain play. The MC mutters to himself, nobody in their right mind would keep fighting that absolute lunatic, not even for $1 million. Standing right in the middle of the arena, the girl realizes barely any players are actually left. The purple-haired girl gets instantly triggered. She complains this useless dude rage quit right when things got hype. She goes into full rage mode. With all that screaming, the MC is just relieved he touched grass and escaped. He complains they will not even let him drop out in peace, but then somebody sneaks up and totally bags his head. Cut to a new spot and they finally yank the bag off. He tries staying chill, totally not mentally prepared for this. The council president's father pulls up in front of him, demanding to know his exact relationship with his daughter. He asks if she taught him how to fight. The kid immediately hits back, saying they are just friends studying together. He makes absolutely sure to clarify she never taught him any sword skills. Silence. The man just sets his cup down. He asks where he picked up that style, claiming that specific footwork belongs straight to his own family's foundation. He asks if the kid seriously thought he would not notice. He demands the actual truth, warning he will not ask again. Right then, the boy knows he cannot show a single drop of sweat. The man is looking incredibly ticked off. So the kid speaks up. He says the Sword Emperor was always a master with totally goated skills. The man asks if he is seriously saying his master taught him that. He calls it cap and warns him to watch his mouth. The The boy insists it is totally real, claiming he even got a personal quest, though deep down he knows he is stretching the truth. He goes on to explain it is actually a specific mission. Then our guy drops a bomb asking to teach this man the exact swordsmanship Dawood knows. Totally blindsided, the man asks if he is seriously offering to teach him how to use a sword. He demands to know if the kid is ready for the consequences. The boy says yes, standing by every single word, hearing that crazy confidence the man actually accepts. On the inside, the boy knows he is totally just relying on spoilers from the original story. He thinks to himself this is his first time actually meeting this dude in person. Because of that, he cannot even fathom how ridiculously overpowered this guy really is. The man is scanning his every single move, so the boy knows he cannot slip up at all. Honestly, he totally gets why the dude is acting so suspicious. Having a random stranger pop up out of nowhere yapping nonsense is objectively sketchy. But suddenly, the man just casually raises his index finger. He makes this crazy lightning-fast motion and asks why the boy did not block it. Our guy literally has no clue what just happened. That is when the man calmly explains he already made his attack. Right on cue, the boy's cup gets sliced perfectly in half, right along with the table. The kid instantly realizes this is that legendary broken ability to slice through anything without even holding a blade. It is a technique only the Supreme Knight can pull off. The boy stays seated, completely frozen. Then his chair completely snaps in half too. The man just scoffs, telling the kid he already died twice and calling him totally pathetic. He asks how a noob who cannot even react to a basic strike expects to teach him a single thing. Get this, that right there is the absolute strongest technique from the Empire's Ultimate Knight. It is the strike of a dude who fought a literal dragon, but the boy speaks up saying the move is definitely sick but still totally incomplete. He explains that if the guy had fully mastered it, there would not be any visible movement at all. Deep down, our guy only knows this because he binge-read the step-by-step journal detailing exactly how Gideon leveled up. He literally knows everything, including his master's whole secret past. Then the boy starts calling out the man's true endgame right to his face. Gideon flashes right back to his past. He remembers being told that breaking his family's dark curse meant he had to carry an insanely heavy burden. Back then, that person straight up ordered Gideon to slice the literal ocean in half. They told him his real journey would only start once he could actually cut through the sea. And now he hears this kid stating with zero hesitation that rotational force is the actual cheat code to pulling it off. He promises that if he does it exactly like that, he could literally split the ocean right down the middle. Hearing that leaves the guy completely shook, so Gideon just closes his eyes to seriously process the wild info he just got hit with. Meanwhile, back in class, the teacher breaks down divine power. He says it is totally different from magic since literally anyone can use it, though he warns that reaching that crazy level, actually having to use it is super rare. Peeking at his students while lecturing, the guy complains to himself about how more and more desks are just sitting empty. He totally blames Riverbach for this mess, thinking bringing a cultist onto campus is out of pocket. Plus, he absolutely despises this semester's batch of students because they literally question every little thing and even square up with teachers. Since nobody knows he's working with Riverbach, he just needs to tough it out a bit longer before ghosting for good. But his daydreaming gets interrupted when a student asks how exactly you train divine power. He says you just keep spamming it, completely brushing it off as a brain-dead question. But Dawood claps back that asking questions actually matters, so the teacher totally loses his chill and cancels class early. Now alone in the room, the teacher is fuming, wondering why that kid always acts like a massive troll. He tells himself he just needs to grab the classified files and dip so he never has to deal with these annoying students or the principal again. Right then, somebody knocks on the door, and he decides to fake being professional one last time. Walking over to open it, he yells out that they're going to break the door down. But right on cue, the door explodes inward, sending him flying backward. Wrecked on the floor, he asks if she's insane for kicking a teacher. She calmly replies she was aiming at the door, not his face. Then she adds that now it is his turn. A little while later, the teacher wakes up tied like a pretzel. Figuring out the vibe, he starts screaming, warning them they will not get away with this prank. Except Dawood tells him this is no joke at all. They are literally here to arrest him. The teacher demands to know who gave them permission, only to freeze when they drop the spy accusation. Elnor reveals they already snitched on him for helping with that recent escape drama. She points out no legit teacher would let their students get eliminated like that, which makes it incredibly obvious he is a total fraud. She adds they have even more receipts finding secret letters between him and Marquise Riverbach. The teacher yells that is pure cap, claiming he was just being polite, so he is actually the victim here. 2. You gotta see this next part checking his watch. Dawood says they have zero time to waste demanding the spies' names right now. Mocking him, the teacher tells the kid to go cry to his mom, so Elnor immediately beats some respect into him. After that, the teacher starts spilling all the tea, naming them one by one. He exposes the security guard Barrymore and the nutritionist Anne. Then Dawood decides to heal him since his busted face is ruining his pronunciation. Totally. Shook the teacher asks what the heck he is doing. Dawood replies he's healing him to level up his divine power, and that he will keep using the guy as a free test dummy. Then Dawood turns away, mentioning that the teacher does not seem like the type to fold so easily after leaking just a few names. Hearing that Elnor suggests raiding his desk. Using his own powers to break free from the ropes, the teacher panics and screams at them to stay far away. Looting the desk, Dawood realizes this guy was actually hoarding super-secret data on the Empire's military structure. Out of absolutely nowhere, the teacher lunges at him, demanding his papers back. Elnor has to take the professor down again. After that brutal hit, his neck is basically snapped backward. He gets yeeted straight into the wall, hitting it with ungodly force. The crash is so ridiculously loud that even the principal jumps, assuming it is an earthquake. Dawood snatches the papers midair and says he got all the loot he needed. Elnor says they can hand the guy over to the knights now, but Dawood tells her to chill out since he is still basically a noob. He explains he really needs to grind divine magic. And hearing that, the professor finally gets why he absolutely could not handle this kid as a student. Right then, the professor realizes the kid totally reminds him of a girl he met back in the day alongside the Marquis. He remembers kneeling before the Forerunner, saying what a goated honor it was to meet her. She made it crystal clear that if he asked a single question about her, it was game over. If he dared talk about her to anyone, instant death. And if he somehow forgot about her, he straight up deserved to die. The professor feels like Dawood is her literal clone, giving off that exact same unhinged, chaotic vibe. It is like something is just deeply broken inside him. But Dawood cuts his panic short and announces it is time for his treatment. Once he finishes, he thanks Elnor and mentions that his divine power stats got a massive buff, asking if beating the dude up helped her blow off some steam. Elnor replies it did not help at all since she gets zero hype out of beating up old dudes, except a system message pops up right then, confirming her madness. Debuff is cleared, proving she's capping so hard. While messing with some gear nearby, she asks if he has anything he wants to confess. Stepping closer, she says she heard about him meeting her dad and she needs to know exactly what they chatted about. Dawood fully panics and asks why he would ever go tracking down her dad, but she snaps back that that is exactly what she is trying to figure out. Playing dumb, Dawood suddenly acts like he remembers the meeting, but he swears he never told a single soul. Elnor refuses to buy it and just repeats the question. Meanwhile, he is sweating bullets, trying to pull an excuse out of thin air since he got caught lacking. She just hopes her dad did not do anything awful to him. Dawood quickly replies that it was totally chill. After taking a breath, he explains the situation. The Archduke only called him over because he saw him using the Tristan family's sword moves and wanted to know his teacher. Looking pretty confused, she asks if her dad actually cared about something like that. The guy's Grand Archduke Tristan, after all. Dawood explains that one of the sick techniques she taught him really popped off during the fight, which is probably why the old man came sniffing around. Elnor just listens and says he can handle it however he wants. She points out her dad has zero patience for teaching noobs, but makes it crystal clear she's staying out of this mess. Right after that, Dawood admits he has a gut feeling the Archduke is going to keep dropping by to bother him. He figures that since the guy is her literal dad, he has to just tank the visits if he wants to keep her safe. Though he instantly regrets saying that out loud, especially since his current stats are way too low to actually protect her anyway. Out of nowhere, Elnor points out that he's getting way too cozy around her lately. She warns him if he really wants to protect her, he needs to touch grass and start calling her student council president. The second he gets back to his room, his butler starts whining about how much time he is spending hanging with Elnor. Dawood fires back that he literally only has 3 friends and Elnor is one of them, though calling them friends might be a stretch. He claps back that the butler is way too extra anyway. Right in the middle of talking, he suddenly remembers that survival exam season is about to drop. Checking out the description on his glove, the system pops up once he farms enough holy energy he can finally pull off the spiritual ritual. To get Herman out of his hair, he sends the butler on a side quest to try every single ice cream flavor and report back. Now that he is finally alone, he realizes he can actually awaken the ghost of the Gregory Pavilion. This whole thing is possible thanks to the insane healing grind he put in. Check this out. Once the spirit wakes up, a goated legendary entity drops. But the form it takes is pure luck. If he rolls some random historical figure with the wrong stats, it is a complete brick. Without wasting another second, he pops the item open. Boom! Out shoots a glowing gacha card. A cinematic starts playing, and he is super hyped to see a knight. He wonders if he pulled Frederick the Lancer, or maybe Johann the Tank. Looking closer, the dude's face seems pretty familiar. He is pumped about the pull, but really needs a name. Then the system menu drops the lore. It is Calivan Crickenax, the Guardian of the Dawn. Dawood is absolutely shook, because that guy is literally Eliah's older brother. The scene cuts to a town completely leveled into rubble. A bunch of terrified civilians surround a young Eliah. This is ground zero where the Crimson Demon triggered the Red Knight disaster. The Royal Guard had to hold the line, no matter what. Caliban was one of those brave defenders putting it all on the line. He went all out to end the Red Knight. He ended up dying in combat, instantly becoming a goated hero. But that exact day, Elia did not just lose Caliban. Her mom and dad were wiped out in the crossfire too. Sobbing uncontrollably, she remembers her big brother promising he would make it back. At the end of the day, no matter how epic the sacrifice is, it remains a brutal tragedy for the people left behind. The day her entire family got wiped, Elias swore she would follow her brother's path, grinding just to defeat the demon that made her an orphan. After graduating at the top of her class, she scored the title of hero candidate, fully planning to become a top-tier hero the second she gets her revenge. Cutting back to the academy, the instructor announces the exams require 4-person squads to properly test their combat and survival skills. Right then, Dowd tells Caliban that his sister is actually chilling right here on campus. Totally shocked, the spirit asks if that girl is really his little sister, and if she actually reached hero candidate status. He talks about how she used to just run around clueless as a kid, but Dowd promises she is a total boss now. The spirit admits it was worth spawning in just to see his sister again, even as a ghost. Dowd reminds him this whole meetup was only one possible because of his summon asking for a team-up. The spirit agrees, but only if they keep this a secret from his sister. He says he can tell Dowd is a real one and asks him to watch her back. Dowd replies that his main goal is literally just making sure nobody gets eliminated. He then casually walks over to grab Elia's attention. He brings up the squad requirements and asks if she is looking for a team. Then he drops the invite to form a party together. She double-checks to see it all. Ia asks if he is dead serious about teaming up. He confirms it and totally apologizes for saying they weren't close earlier. He explains he is asking her straight up because he desperately needs her skills. She finds this super sus and jumps to conclusions. She figures he wants some weird favor, but out of nowhere, a dude from Aya's current squad tells him to just take her. Since she never stops hyping him up anyway, Wood casually asks if it is cool to borrow her for a bit. A classmate jokes that he is actually doing them a solid, but right on cue, her teammate gets completely knocked out cold. Out of options, she asks if it is just the two of them now. Wood clarifies they are building a full party, but they still need one more member to lock it in. Imagine getting left behind like that. Her old teammate is absolutely shook. Meanwhile, the vibe in the principal's office is incredibly tense. She is on a magical crystal call with someone shady. She points out how totally wild it was for a saint to pull up with a massive escort even if she ignored it then. The priest shoots back that he could not leave Lucian stuck there. He desperately needs a chance to prove his actual worth. The principal thinks the public might see this girl as a goated saint, but the deep dive investigations say something completely different. In reality, she is prime material to become a literal demon vessel. The mess started when they locked up her twin sister, yet the church still stubbornly pushed to send this girl here. The principal keeps wondering what the actual catch is. Why would the Holy Empire pull a stunt like that? The priest claims making this call was not exactly a walk in the park. She demands to know if this ties back to the demon beast incident. He straight up confirms it played a major factor. But the final straw was finding out one of their own priests was secretly a spy. She asks if this whole setup puts the saint in absolute danger. The priest brushes it off, claiming it is for her own good. If she wants that high-tier title, she has to earn it. She needs to flex some courage and stomp out evil everywhere. Finally, he brings up the Academy's exam season. He hopes the saint can basically carry the students through training. He promises to drop the full details later, but he emphasizes this is all about wiping local evil completely off the map. The principal practically laughs, asking if the Empire is just treating her academy like an absolute joke. She admits she does not know his real endgame, but rejecting the offer would just leave everyone completely stuck at square one. The priest smoothly promises everything will be chill once the saint takes the quest. He swears she will be a massive help and kills the feed. Totally drained, the principal lets out a heavy, frustrated sigh. She angrily vents, calling the guy a massive fake and a toxic manipulator. She honestly never saw this coming. Facing the saint this soon was not on her bingo card. Now she realizes she is just getting played in the Emperor's twisted game. She remembers the wild order she gave Wood to literally rizz up every single girl acting as a demon vessel. Talk about an insane ego check. She finally realizes right then how incredibly hypocritical she is being. She is constantly playing folks, using everyone around her to get whatever she wants. Meanwhile, Yuria is chilling down by the lake, washing clothes, totally lost in thought, trying to figure out why Wood is ghosting her. It has been days, and he always used to swing by, right around this exact time. She absolutely cannot get him out of her head. She remembers him promising to show up the next morning, playfully asking if he should bring some snacks or meat. Honestly, she thinks he did not need to bring a single thing. Just having him around was a massive win for her. But suddenly, a creepy dark voice echoes inside her mind. telling her he basically got bored and bounced. The voice repeats the harsh truth he completely abandoned her. The priest's voice rings out claiming that by running away she locked in her dark fate, her ultimate destiny to eliminate everyone. Anyone foolish enough to cross her path. That was the heavy curse she picked up. The voice whispers she is going to die utterly alone, because nothing ever changes in her broken reality. She is permanently stuck touching grass alone in this huge empty forest. No cell service, no backup. She had to just eat the loss and accept it. But suddenly, a familiar voice asks why she is crying. It is Wood. He asks if anything crazy happened while he was gone, complaining he couldn't score any decent cookies. She does not even process a single word. The second she spots him, she spins around with the biggest, most genuine smile. Right then, his affection meter for her spikes straight from 1 to 4. She frantically asks if he secretly hates her, or if he got sick of her vibe. Wood is completely lost. He asks what she is on about. He just needs a quick favor. He checks if she is actually allowed to leave this spot. She immediately steps forward, claiming she would do literally anything for him, but accidentally shreds the cookie bag in her rush. She immediately panics. She is straight up sobbing, apologizing, and swearing she never meant to do it. The waterworks kick in again as she frantically asks if he completely hates her now. She starts screaming and chasing after him, begging him not to walk away. Meanwhile, a totally spooked Dowd complains that she is literally forcing him to do cardio. We cut over to the main competition. The teacher breaks down the actual objective, making it all the way to the Great Plains. Snagging extra necklaces from your opponents, bags, you bonus points. Ilya is visibly annoyed by this entire circus. She mentions having way too many questions for such a massively hyped and important day. Dowd tells her to save the questions for later, but she immediately snaps back that she wants answers now. She glares straight at the random woman standing next to him. She demands to know what the heck is going on. He tries the classic, "It is not what it looks like" excuse. No dice, she is not buying it. Yuria sees them beefing and steps right in. She admits it was her idea and claims she honestly feels way more comfortable like this. Ilya literally cannot process this nonsense. She bluntly asks where the heck their actual human pride went. Calvin chimes in saying he has no clue about Dowd and his sister's weird vibe, but the dude seriously needs to clear up this misunderstanding right away. Except he instantly regrets speaking up the second he hears the crazy response. Dowd bluntly tells Ilya to absolutely never leave his side. More importantly, she needs to stay far away from Yuria. Ilya wonders why she cannot even get close. She says message received loud and clear, but fiercely warns him not to even think about slapping a literal leash on her neck too. With the drama settled, Dowd calls Yuria over to finally get moving. Meanwhile, check this out, deep in the forest, another squad thought they were totally getting wiped. He checks if everyone is okay and unhurt. The rest of the crew confirms they are perfectly fine. One dude points out how that girl from the Tribal Alliance was completely overpowered, proving way too strong even for Talion. Talion catches that comment. He snaps back that without him hard carrying, every single one of them would have been totally eliminated by now. They awkwardly change the subject, suggesting they go farm easy targets like Dowd now that they are finally bouncing back. But Talion instantly shuts that down, telling them to count him out. He straight up admits he does not even hate Dowd anymore. He claims his vision is clear now, realizing this world is absolutely packed with insanely overpowered monsters. Somewhere else in the forest, Lulu stands over a trash student complaining about how ridiculously weak everyone here actually is. She cannot fathom how an entire group of people can be this useless. She tells herself these absolute scrubs need to touch grass completely unaware that real combat means life or death. She has honestly never seen anything this pathetic, wondering how these kids even survive functioning like this daily. But right as she goes in for the final hit, a blinding flash of light spawns out of nowhere and perfectly blocks the fatal blow. It is Elnor parrying the strike with her sword. They just glare at each other, instantly picking up on that heavy, absolutely wild killer intent. Without missing a single beat, both girls unleash a massive, devastating attack at the exact same second. Elnor casually points out that Lulu is drawing way too much heat for someone who is literally supposed to be stuck in exile. As a student officer, she firmly states she cannot tolerate this level of unhinged violence, ordering the girl to stand down immediately. Lulu smirks, asking why she should care, and wonders what Elnor will even do about a refusal. Elnor replies, cold as ice. On a real battlefield, her head would already be rolling across the floor. But since they are safe at school, she gets a single warning. Stepping up, Lulu fiercely claims this is her battlefield, daring Elnor to go ahead and try to finish the job. She declares that drawing a blade means an inevitable fight. She demands to know what the problem is, calling everyone in the Empire the exact same kind of total weakling. She mentions there were definitely people back in her home tribe acting exactly like Elnor. Supposedly strong people with zero actual conviction who just stand around sobbing even when they lose the people they care about most. Whenever she spots someone acting like that, she literally loses all chill. Flashing a cocky smirk, she boldly takes another step into the danger zone. But staring back at Elnor, she suddenly spots the terrifying phantom of a massive gray demon looming directly behind her. That visual leaves the girl absolutely shook. She immediately remembers the harsh lesson her father used to preach, that the universe does not revolve around her. And the higher you level up, the more you realize how insanely huge the world truly is. Right then, the reality check finally hits. The world is way too big. Watch this crazy move. She leaps straight up to launch her signature attack. Watching this unfold, Elnor remains totally stone-faced, not showing a single drop of emotion. Seeing the incoming strike, she instantly pops a forced teleport skill. Dead silent, Lulu lunges forward, wearing an absolutely terrifying, unhinged expression. Right on the absolute verge of landing the hit with her foot mere inches from Elnor's face, a super weird sensation suddenly washes over her, and just like magic, she completely vanishes. She instantly respawns somewhere completely different, face planting straight into the hard dirt. Groaning through the pain, she finally looks around. That is exactly when the realization hits. She just failed the whole exam from getting way too hyped up. Out loud, she whines about how ridiculously broken the student council president's power actually is. But putting that aside, watching from the sidelines, she realizes the power gap is absolutely insane. Honestly, they feel like two completely different species. She really just wants to know what got Elnor so tilted. Was it because she was trash-talking the Empire earlier? Some random students nearby start freaking out, asking if she's about to jump them. She ignores them, guessing maybe it is because she threatened to steal Elnor's favorite person. Now she is just wondering who that could even be. Out of nowhere, mid-fight, Dowd gets a system pop-up saying Riru is suddenly super interested in him. While sprinting and literally dragging Yuria, who is absolutely wrecking everyone in her way, another ping drops. He somehow triggered Elnor's rage skill. He accidentally mutters his confusion out loud, making Ilya turn and ask what on earth he is talking about. Meanwhile, Yuria is just bodying every single person in sight. Right before catching hands, the students scream that Dowd is a total scam and that they are going to save Ilya. Hearing this mess, Ilya asks to just clear the misunderstanding up first, but Dowd shoots that idea down fast. He's way too busy to play PR manager right now, just trying to keep Yuria from going totally feral. Dragged along for the ride, one KO dude yells out that he was only trying to protect her. Dowd seriously considers telling Ilya's wild fan club they need to touch grass. Then he realizes he yanked Yuria too hard. She is right up in his personal space. Hearing him scream, Ilya seriously questions if they will ever finish this exam. But then a massive golem violently crashes down right in front of them. Some random guy flexing on top of the rock monster says hello. He smoothly drops that since day one of class, he has been totally simping over her insane strength and beauty. Super confused, Dowd asks if she always has this many crazy stands. The dude claims he has no clue how she got kidnapped, but promises to rescue her and maybe take her out for a bite afterward. Completely out of patience, Ilya snaps back she was never kidnapped and Dowd is absolutely not a fraud. But this guy just keeps pushing the fake narrative. Officially out of chill, she completely gives up and draws her sword. The green-haired dude panics, begging her not to attack. And you thought your school drama was bad? Watch this. Dowd realizes knights, mages, and clergy members are completely swarming the area. This is his goated opportunity to farm some skill levels, so he tells Callan to wake up. He needs a solid favor and tells him to manifest. But Callan is not having it, saying he doesn't have a clue what is happening besides it looking sketchy as hell. Yuria hears a weird sound and glances back. A whole mob of students is rushing in to play hero for Ilya. Stunned, Dowd demands to know why he stayed, and Callan replies he refuses to get involved in high school drama. Meanwhile, Ilya goes absolute goblin mode on the golem. Dowd warns that his little sister is literally dealing with a stalker. Boom, the spirit instantly sees red, bursting out and popping his mental realm skill. This shares a massive desperate survival buff across the party. Furious, Ilya yells she definitely does not need fans like this creep. The guy tries warning her to chill out because his rock golem will completely shatter her sword, but he shuts up real quick when that stone giant gets cleanly sliced in half. His eyes bug out as he crashes straight down with his broken monster. Everyone is literally shook. Even Ilya herself stands there, wondering how she just pulled off a god-tier move like that. Dowd quietly admits that was sick as hell. The only con of it, downside, is this broken skill completely nukes their divine power bar. Predictably, the crazy buff just wears off after a couple of hits. Still hyped but confused, Ilya turns around, spotting a massive wave of students sprinting right at her, screaming that hero candidate or not, they refuse to let her protect Dowd. Suddenly, the chains snap tight and Yuria gets yeeted straight into the mob. Running purely on instinct, she just starts throwing hands and feet at everybody. Once the crowd gets folded, she awkwardly apologizes, claiming she actually tried to hold back. Ilya is mind blown by how stubborn these students are, refusing to even listen. She honestly wonders how anyone could spin this mess into a good thing. With the mob closing in again, she charges up her ultimate Guardian Burst. This spawns an absolutely massive tornado. It sweeps every single student high into the sky. Seriously, can you even imagine getting hit by that? Dowd watches the carnage thankful. He is sitting safely at F- rank. Even the spirit questions if she was always this cracked. Then a system alert pops up, confirming an ally just pulled off a legendary feat, giving his own skill proficiency a massive boost. Glancing down at his wrist, Dowd realizes the chain is completely gone. Screaming into the void, Ilya complains that they are stuck right back in the exact same loop. But honestly, she hides a smile, realizing running in, Dowd's squad is way more hyped than she ever expected. Cut to another zone where a different team casually counts out 9 necklaces. After snatching the final drop, the red-haired leader hypes his team up, guessing they just hit the max score. Another teammate hypes up their teamwork, but the girl cuts right in. She points out a harsh truth: despite the W, they are still not in first place. Second place is already sitting on 15 necklaces. The redhead brags he can easily snag 6 more instantly, but she totally crushes his vibe. She drops the bomb. Second place is literally just a solo player, not a squad. The rest of the party is shook. She asks if anyone knows a dude named Fennel Lipek. They admit they haven't seen him, complaining about how unfair it is to deal with an absolute sweat like that in their class. The redhead leans in, asking what first place is holding, but she can barely speak. First place has an insane 111 necklaces. But here is the crazy part: Dowd just unlocked a goated skill called Reflection. Perfect blocks now bounce back a portion of damage. Dowd finally drops the major news everyone was waiting for. They finally made it. Ilya asks if the exam wraps up once they snag that final piece. Dowd totally roasts her, saying she should already know that as the class tryhard. Meanwhile, Yuria is just enjoying their little banter. For real. Dowd remembers this part being just a random game event. He wonders what sick boss is about to spawn next. Will it be worse than a beast? Ilya is totally losing it, calling this way too unhinged for a simple exam. Even Yuria is completely frozen. The person lying right in front of her is literally her own sister. The exact second Dowd spots her, a massive notification pops. Chapter 2 main quest: chill out the raging curse of Rupture Bearer, all while keeping Yuria and Lucian safe. Ilya steps closer, pointing out that the person on the ground is radiating heavy divine energy everywhere, everything from the necklace buffs to the teleports. She admits she never thought Elnor Academy would pull something this wild. Stepping up, she promises to save her, but suddenly a loud voice shouts out that they need to back off. High Priest Klein steps in, claiming the saint is doing this totally voluntarily. Superheated, Ilya asks if that is actually true. Klein doubles down, insisting she is acting out of her own free will. He basically tells them to touch grass out of respect, then asks the saint directly if anyone forced her hand. Yuria is absolutely shook, hearing her own sister claim she is handling all of this by choice. Ilya demands how she can say that while looking so wrecked. Klein quickly warns her that a hero candidate should realize defying the saint is literally throwing hands with the entire Holy Empire. Yuria is stunned by Dowd stepping up. He claps back. He is not defying anyone, just saving someone who is clearly suffering. The priest warns her that pushing further means he will have to step in. Dowd is caught totally off guard, seeing the saint right there. After all, the Holy Empire is literally a top 3 global superpower. Their top brass are ridiculously cracked, basically defying logic, especially the Pope, who is hardcore obsessed with expanding his turf. As for Lucian, she is the Empire's ultimate asset and literally just the Pope's puppet. Both Yuria and Lucian are just pawns for the Pope's so-called greater good. It honestly feels like the system itself is hard-locking Yuria into pure despair, and Dowd is not dumb enough to solo a vessel losing control. So Dowd tells her they already bagged first place, meaning the saint should go rest up. Klein cuts right in, claiming the saint stays put until second and third place roll up. Dowd knows exactly why they spawned here so early. Elnor is definitely the one to blame. That wild monster attack totally grabbed the Empire's attention. That purifier incident handed them solid proof. Now they are positive Elnor is behind everything, since she was at the center of both attacks. If Yuria loses her cool, now things go from bad to worst, handing the Pope a perfect excuse to start directly flexing his power over Elnor. Dowd wonders if they already know about Yuria, thinking he might not have a single other choice. When a glove drops right at Klein's feet, the priest is completely clueless about Dowd's play. Dowd smirks. Maybe the Empire missed this lesson, but that is a formal challenge. Ilya is absolutely mind-blown. Even Yuria is shook by how unhinged he is acting. Not even the saint can predict what Dowd is cooking up. He tells Ilya to dip immediately and drag the saint to the infirmary. He flat-out orders Klein to quit, interfering and just fight him. The priest is left raging about how these totally insane situations keep finding him. Klein warns him that this could spark an international incident, demanding to know what kind of title this student actually holds. Dowd casually claps back that he is just some nobody from a barren family. Klein complains, whining that as a high priest, he cannot just throw down with any random troll challenging him. Hearing that, Dowd simply asks him why he even drew his sword in the first place. Since the hero candidate is standing right there, Dowd has no idea why this priest is stressing over him so hard. He realizes he just needs to go on the offensive. To break the stalemate, he warns Klein that he is drawing his blade. Klein just scoffs. He brags that a basic student like him just needs a quick lesson in manners. But at that exact second, Dowd actually draws his sword. He lands a super fast, perfectly timed counterattack. Right on cue, his rebound skill kicks in. The impact sends the priest flying backward instantly, while the whole crowd just stands there completely speechless. Dowd is already playing out his upcoming chat with the principal in his head. He will explain he did not start a brawl, but issued a formal duel, and that this totally unhinged priest attacked him first. The principal will definitely remind him the guy is a high priest. Dowd will say it is fine because he is using the Tristan family immunity card. She will point out that they cannot do anything about the Saintess anyway, asking if he really wants to go through with this. When she questions him, he will say he has already secured 50% of Uria's trust since she was literally right there when the mess went down. The principal gets super confused and asks why she even went there. He explains he brought her along to lock down first place. After all, he needs to grab the vessel's attention, and playing the nice guy is not going to cut it anymore. But she brings up his friends, saying he really needs to touch grass and fix his own life before saving the country. He replies he has never had any drama with Ilya or Elnor. She explains she means his school life in general. Dowd should focus on making friends and stop getting into wild trouble. But thinking back to Archduke Tristan, he admits he has already totally failed that part. The principal warns him that since his challenge reached the Holy Empire, the Pope himself might show up in person, and she is not sure he actually planned for that. After all, the Pope is extremely dangerous, so he needs to think carefully before making moves. A short while later, somewhere else entirely, the Saintess is chilling peacefully in bed, just enjoying the moment while smoking a cigarette. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door. She tells them to come in, but the second she sees who walked through, both of them freeze in absolute shock. Totally confused, all she can do is say Uria's name, and looking just as baffled, the visitor calls out her name right back. Sensing the super awkward tension in the air, the Saintess decides to get up. But seeing her move, Yuria completely panics. She desperately begs the Saintess not to come any closer, but the Saintess just keeps walking toward her anyway. Yuria warns her about the curse. If she gets too close, she's going to end up getting badly hurt. But Lucian says that is actually a relief since the two of them are twins. Meanwhile, across town, the duel rules drop. No killing allowed, and if anyone takes a serious hit, the fight stops immediately. Dowd knows Lucian is totally crucial for Yuria's awakening, because without her, Yuria's mind will just be destroyed by pure obsession, causing the girl to completely break down. This right here is exactly why this crazy duel has to happen. The Holy Empire messing with Lucian's life needs to end permanently, and this fight has to hit hard enough to change that. With that, both fighters are teleported straight into the arena. The principal figures even if the Pope did not show up in person. There is no way he would miss watching a goated fight like this. Out in the arena, Klein warns him. It is way too late to ask for forgiveness now, but he offers a chance anyway. Surrender early, keep your bones unbroken. After dropping that threat, he asks if the kid heard him clearly. Up in the stands, the butler comments. There is zero shame in giving up immediately, since he literally has no chance. But cutting the butler off, Dowd replies that he finds that hilarious since he was just about to offer the exact same deal. Hearing that, the high priest instantly flashes back to a chat from last night. In that conversation, the Pope warned him, never strike with intent to kill, because the harder the hit, the worse the backlash gets. Klein had asked if a sick ability like that even existed, and the Pope said he had seen it before, though he did not expect to ever run into it again. Finding it super ironic, he realizes that, in the end, he was the one walking blindly into his own defeat. The Pope tells him to just crush the enemy's spirit permanently. He gets ready for battle and activates his stacked blessings. Right after that, he just keeps charging his power-up. He plans to use this attack to teach him a brutal lesson. He wants to put that arrogant noble back in his place. The Pope watches closely, totally hyped that the showdown is starting. But watch this, just as Klein goes to attack, Dowd activates guidance. He uses his copied skill, Wrath of the Grey Demon. Still in midair, Klein feels something absolutely terrifying, coming straight his way. Suddenly, everything around them seems to flip totally upside down. A massive flash of light appears accompanied by red lightning strikes. The whole world shifts to gray. A system alert pops up. The seal of heavenly fall is reacting. Klein gets frozen completely solid mid-air. Guy cannot twitch a muscle. Catching the opening, Dowd hoists his blade for the finisher. He lands a sick direct hit. Huge cracks web across the ground. A second later, the world snaps back to normal color. The pure kinetic force leaves the headmistress totally stunned. The guards, they are absolutely terrified by this absolute beast of a strike. The display is so insane that even the Pope cracks a smile. A new status window pops up. Guidance is officially activated. Another alert drops. The seal of Heavenly Fall just triggered again. Meanwhile, these two stay deadlocked in an all-out brawl. One more notification flashes. Demonic energy is actively pooling inside that seal. And here is where things get completely unhinged. The demon actually manifests inside Elnor, stepping out as a drop-dead gorgeous woman. Dowd realizes he cannot solo this threat on his own. The demon lady just locks eyes with him in dead silence. He braces to rush her, but before his sword swings, she perfectly backsteps to gain some breathing room. He finds her whole vibe super weird. She casually mentions he is hurting her feelings. She taps his blade and red energy explodes from it. Then she flashes this wild smile. He is completely glued to her. They keep trading crazy fast blows back and forth. It totally bugs him how effortlessly she deflects his signature moves. Since the rules say no killing, she opts for a light lesson instead. Boom. Her counter hits with ridiculous force. The massive impact launches him skyward. The strike is so violently heavy that he literally hangs suspended in midair. Meanwhile, somebody else is tracking this entire showdown with their eyes fully shut. They note that Group leveled up way faster than expected while he was distracted. Her Holiness turns to Dowd asking for his final word. Dowd bluntly tells those leeching freeloaders to go touch grass and stay away from him. The crowd absolutely loses it. They scream at him for disrespecting Her Holiness like that. Onlookers start mauling, asking what trash academy raises students like this. Suddenly, a guy steps up, roasting them for sending a grown knight against a teenager. But it gets better. He keeps totally flaming the faction, calling every single one of them absolute creeps. A random kid in the crowd even chimes in, demanding to know how they dare call themselves a holy empire after this. The dude just laughs out loud, tossing these brutal insults right in their faces. Holiness glances back, asking what their next move is. She admits she gets the point. Even though this duel was a major time sink, she accepts his demand. The woman next to her is completely shook. It is obvious Dowd is not just some combat prodigy. The guy is insanely sharp. Taking the loss, she walks away with the injured knight. Meanwhile, way off screen from all this drama, a secret meeting goes down. A shadowy boss with his back turned issues a strict order to the woman beside him. He tells the purple-haired lady to deep dive everything about Dowd. She agrees, instantly pledging to get it done. The man points out how goated it is for one single duel to capture the attention of 3 whole nations. Dowd sighs in pure relief, thankful that dude is finally out of his hair. In the background, the ref officially crowns Dowd Campbell the winner. The headmistress breathes easy hype that her student dodged any punishment from that massive train wreck. Even Hatan gives Dowd his props, says he likes the kid, claiming he moves like a legit warrior. He tosses Dowd the lion necklace. It is a cracked item that boosts vitality and gives a massive physical strength buff. Dowd reacts lightning fast, snatching the rare loot straight out of the air. Before dipping the tribe, Chief invites Dowd to visit his village for a massive welcome. He is completely floored and wants to see that godlike power again. Dowd realizes something crazy. In the original plot, this item was not supposed to drop until way later. But he secured the bag early, all because he earned respect from the most lethal guy in the tribal alliance. Back at the academy, the headmistress grills him. Did he tap into the vessel power again during that showdown? He admits he did, but he totally plays it off, claiming he just got insanely lucky. She warns him straight up. Hatan and the priest definitely clocked it. Multiple heavy-hitting factions are about to hunt him down. She tells him to stay alert and gear up because his life is about to get wildly chaotic. Without blinking, he says, "Message received." Next morning, a system window flashes. Main quest officially cleared. For his reward, he snags an Echo of Blessing and another evil seed. Thanks to this sick new drop, he now holds exactly 4 evil seeds in his inventory. He knows there are still more out there to find. High-tier system skills lock behind this rare currency. One of them is Eye of Perception. This absolute cheat code lets him inspect an opponent's entire stat sheet once daily. He realizes the info provided is absolute and completely tamper-proof, zero room for error. Hyped out of his mind to test this power, he scans the area for a test dummy. He spots Trisha, but figures he doesn't need to analyze her just yet. Soon after, he spots the professor. Yeah, probably best to not use the skill on her either. Then he spots someone sprinting nearby, completely out of breath. Enter Elnor, literally the perfect test subject for this. Watching her train, he sees her absolutely bulldozing through everyone in her path while running. Honestly, using this skill on heavy hitters like Elnor or Elia makes the most sense anyway. So he finally fires up Perception Gaze. Almost all of Elnor's stats are S-rank, and she is packing a demon fragment with an 80% fusion rate and 2% corruption. That 80% rate is crazy high. He is positive the Riverback incident spiked that number way up. At least her corruption sits low, or else she would be a full demon by now. Suddenly, a giant eye pops right into his view. Startled, he asks how she even noticed him. Elnor straight up felt a highly suspicious glare coming from his direction. Rolling with it, she drops some intel. She found the guy he wanted, but warns him, this dude is no regular human. She adds that from here on out, he is flying solo. Her student council president duties are literally eating all her free time. Dowd thanks her, asking if the search was brutal. Nope, being the president actually made pulling up those records super easy. She also casually drops that the Holy Empire expanded its delegation, asking if he knows anything. Dowd completely dodges the question, playing totally dumb. Buying his act, she hands over the tracking logs, detailing the target's every move during the exam. Scanning the report, Dowd is genuinely impressed. In the original story, they had to do this tracking entirely by hand. He pulls her into a quick hug, promising payback later. Noting the report flags the clock tower as the target's base, he says a quick goodbye and instantly rushes over. Without him even noticing that random hug, leaves Elnor blushing like an absolute tomato. Finally reaching the tower, he sprints up the massive stairs as fast as possible. Recalling the logs, he knows this guy usually camps out here until 7. He realizes the target entered the academy right around the same time as the Saints. Knowing the dude's super introverted personality, this guy would literally do anything to avoid touching grass, but even he needs to catch some sunlight every now and then. Waiting at the top is the young king, Valkasus. He smirks, telling Dowd he desperately needs to work on his cardio. Turning around, the king straight up asks if he is Dowd Campbell. Completely thrown off, Dowd demands how he already knows that. Valkasus just tells him to catch his breath first. Turns out the seer was the one who leaked Dowd's identity. Dowd immediately wonders why the seer would send him straight here, especially knowing exactly who he is. The king chuckles. Dowd is lucky to have a goated spy, but he really isn't in a position to be demanding any meetings. They are enemies after all. Still catching his breath, Dowd finds it completely wild that the seer, originally just a minor demon worshipper, is now actively hijacking the main storyline like this. Valkasus warns him the seer's red was crystal clear. Dowd is his absolute biggest obstacle. Then the king asks flat out, "Are you really going to stand in my way?" Dowd realizes this guy already knows everything. He tracked his every move and gave orders without ever meeting face to face. Honestly, this dude's playbook is basically identical to his own. Valkasus then presses him, "How much do you actually know?" He heard Dowd was sitting on a massive intel drop, especially since he specifically hunted him down today. Dowd fires right back, saying he knows more than enough to realize this guy doesn't have evil intentions, even if his master plan involves conquering the academy and wiping everyone out. The king nods. Yup, the raid goes down in exactly 3 days because this mysterious prophet is super rigid about his deadlines. On top of that, they don't even know who the prophet actually is yet. And worst of all, down the line, Dowd might actually have to fight whoever got that divine enlightenment. Totally lost, Dowd asks why he is giving away all this free lore. He fires back that he knows exactly who he is facing. Valkasus, Armada's last king who used alchemy to absorb every single one of his citizens. The king smirks, noting they are literally enemies, so handing out free intel is crazy. Plus, he absolutely despises people messing with his strategies. Even so, Valkasus insists he isn't here to ruin anything. The guy just really wants a fair fight. He believes a game should stay balanced. Even with all this intel, Dowd is still completely outgunned here. Makes sense, Dowd just rolled up to see if he was playing dirty. Dowd knows his read is dead on. Keeping his cool, Dowd pops his perception skill right away. But the king just smirks, tells him to take a really good look. Dowd looks and sees 2 million alchemical spells totally jammed into the king's body, and every single one of those cost a human life. The king just flexes, says using that skill mid-fight is basically useless. Dowd fires back that he knows, hence why he usually keeps it on the down low. He adds he just wants to keep things fair. 2. The king brushes it off, says he just wanted to check if the prophet's hype about Dowd was legit. He tells him not to take it personally, but honestly, he does not see how Dowd is a threat at all. Dowd clenches his fists tight and asks if he wants to make a bet. 3 days from now, the king is planning to completely wipe everyone off the map. Dowd vows to go all out in his preparation. How are to stop him? In exactly 3 days, he is going to save the king and this whole kingdom. But if Dowd pulls off the win, he wants one specific thing. Before he even finishes, the king cuts him off cold, saying Dowd is just going to become another stat inside his body. He leaps right off the tower, shouting, "Peace out." Looking down, the only thing Dowd sees left behind is a sick trail of souls. It hits him hard. What if he actually loses this insane bet? He quickly pulls his head together, telling himself he cannot even entertain that doom spiral. That is rule number 1. Meanwhile, waiting right outside the room's door, Lucian asks if Yuria is finally done getting dressed. She turns around asking if the girl likes her fresh fit. Yuria nods, but honestly, she looks super awkward and totally out of place. She admits she has never worn anything this nice before, so it feels a little embarrassing. Hearing that shy confession, Lucian tells her she can literally raid the wardrobe. After everything the poor girl has been through, it is the bare minimum she can offer. She promises the kid can fully chill as long as she is around. Lucian totally thought the curse would have crushed her spirit completely, but she is so relieved seeing her still this pure. Then she takes a second look and notices the girl is wearing a collar. She asks what on earth she's doing with that thing on her neck. Yuria explains. Dowd gave it to her to represent their bond, and she is wearing it because he literally said he would not visit otherwise. Hearing that wild red flag, Lucian is left completely, absolutely speechless. Yuria panics and clarifies she does not think Lucian's gifts are bad at all. It is just that Dowd was dead serious about the collar rule for visits. She desperately begs Lucian not to get the wrong idea here. Gritting her teeth, Lucian snaps, asking where that absolute creep vanished to. Smirking right on cue, Dowd pops up and says it is all a huge misunderstanding. He knows it looks mad sus, but he swears it was totally necessary to keep Yuria's nasty curse under complete control. He explains he only used the freaking collar because it was the one item he could scramble together in time. The saint says, Yuria is her actual sister, her last living family, and they finally reunited after literal years apart. Dowd nods, saying he already knew all of that, but she snaps right back, that is exactly the problem here. She demands to know how he dug up something like that. She admits she was just low-key annoyed at first, but the more tea she heard about him, the more incredibly sus he became. She cannot fathom how some random frontier baron knew about her secret sister, or how this dude somehow managed to straight-up defeat a high priest. Dowd knows he's just hard carrying with his meta-game knowledge, but obviously he cannot drop that truth bomb. So he lies, claims it was all a top-secret op arranged with the principal. That is why he cannot drop details, but he swears he's on her and Yuria's side for real. Calming down just a bit, she calls his bluff but says she will let it slide since he did fight for them and kept Yuria safe. As both of them let out a massive sigh of relief, she warns him she still does not fully trust him. And frankly, while his real identity does not matter today, she wants every single detail of whatever wild scheme he is planning right now, so Dowd spills it. The Holy Empire's sick plan actually requires both Yuria and Lucian to work. It is called the Homunculus Project. Turns out she was not born a saint. Lucian was literally crafted by fusing raw materials together. She was engineered as a vessel for holy power, while Yuria was bred just to buff that exact same power. That is exactly how the Holy Emperor plans to build his twisted paradise on Earth, ruling everything through his own sick version of justice. But Yuria escaping totally nuked those plans, and he will never stop hunting them down. The Pope only paused the restrictions temporarily because Dowd is in the way. That is why they got to abuse this tiny window and prepare. Getting even more stunned, Lucian demands to know who this guy really is. Seriously, how does he know this? Meanwhile, inside a room, system notifications pop up. A brutal reminder, only 3 days left until the Little King's massive main quest kicks off. Standing right in front of a glowing orb, the saint explains it is a divine artifact holding up the barrier around the entire academy grounds. And she nervously asks if this thing is actually going to save them. Dowd smirks, says he is 100% sure, but points out she was flaming him for putting a collar on Yuria earlier. But look who is doing something way more messed up now. The saint explains that ignoring this curse just isn't an option. Plus, they need to put on a whole fake show right now. They gotta act like they are taking the girl in for an exorcism to keep everyone from getting suspicious. Catching on fast, Dowd tells her to ditch the hood and asks the others to wait outside. But Ilya is completely not having it, refusing to leave. To protect the saint, she insists on keeping a super close eye on him. The saint backs her up, admitting Dowd is still totally sus. She drops some lore explaining the star core is made from the exact same stuff as Yuria's sword. Getting close to it is strictly off limits. But having a goated hero candidate around makes her feel way more secure. She admits the only reason Dawood got an invite is because she blindly trusts the creator who brought them together. Dawood thinks that checks out, honestly just hyped she brought him this far. Handing over the literal leash, the saint asks Ilya to watch her sister's back. Ilya steps up, claiming she feels insanely honored by all this trust. Meanwhile, Dawood thinks about how demons just run wild in the human world. But for angels, the rules are totally different. He knows low-tier angels are nerfed by worldly rules. That explains why those last ones could not just aggro without a solid reason. But the whole meta shifts when a heroine is involved. The saint lets Yuria know she will just chill outside. She asks if Yuria can hold her own if things go south, and Yuria just gives a nod. Dawood keeps strategizing, remembering that a pure-hearted heroine is basically a walking cheat code acting as a bridge for angels to intervene. So the saint trusting Ilya makes perfect sense, even if she is still just a rookie candidate. Ilya really tries to match that energy, telling Yuria to relax because she has her back. But Yuria absolutely panics the second she sees what Dawood pulls next. Without missing a beat, he straight up punches the crystal. But that hit barely leaves a micro scratch on the thing. That wild move completely scares Ilya. Dawood just stares at his weak damage output, looking a little bit stressed about it, and Yuria is absolutely shook by his reckless play. Meanwhile, out in the hall, the Saint starts overthinking the whole situation. She figures if this guy knows about the homunculus project, his info network must be completely busted. She still thinks he is super sus. But there has to be some valid reason Ilya and Yuria are backing him up, figuring he isn't just spamming random moves. Back inside, Ilya literally cannot believe what is happening right in front of her face. Even the Saint's sister is frozen out of her mind, totally lagging. A literal virtuous angel is suddenly standing right there, a rank way higher than Dawood prepared for. He was betting on another low-tier angel dropping in just like last time. But the drop rates lied. He realizes he just triggered a massive boss-level threat. Right then, the angel reads his mind like an open book. Ilya mutters that heavenly logic is just totally impossible to predict. Floating down to their level, the angel speaks up, saying she actually remembers him. She asks if he fought her soldiers earlier. Dawood admits he totally did, asking if she is about to mind-wipe him for disrespect. The angel claims she has zero plans to attack. Dawood instantly gets suspicious. In the original game, meta-angels could not interfere much, but they could still spam mental attacks. The debuff penalty was not even that bad, but enough to completely stun-lock players into doing nothing. Usually everyone just rage quit immediately. So he wonders why this one is just standing there idle right now. Then the angel admits she finds his thoughts super entertaining. Instantly, an insane gravity force slams Dawood down, forcing him to his knees. She says she only wanted to drop a basic warning, but she sensed his aggro was way too direct. Dawood just tells her to speedrun the punishment, and the angel tells him he better brace for impact. Dawood genuinely wonders if this is how the real mental attack feels. 1 second later, he spawns into a totally different zone. He wonders if this weird map is supposed to be his own brain space. Even the angel looks completely shook by what she sees. She explains a mental space should perfectly show your moral alignment. But looking at this crazy setup, she literally cannot figure out if Dawood is good or evil. Scratching her head, the angel complains she should have let the grunt mobs handle him. She absolutely hates this vibe right now. Glaring at him, she mutters that a human like this needs to touch grass. Meanwhile, Dawood actually tries forcing a mental space open. That means exposing a piece of his soul, which is exactly his wild strategy. Right after that, the soul space successfully renders in, and that is when things get super glitchy. The angel asks if he just walled off his own mind. He says nope, admitting he wouldn't even know how to pull that off. So the angel just stands by to see his next play. Dawood is watching closely too. The angel asks what on earth is actually happening. She steps closer for a better look, but then realizes something is standing right behind her. Both of their eyes go wide in pure shock. A literal demon. The monster glares right at the angel and blasts her with raw energy. Turns out this is the white demon herself. But her eyes widen the second she spots Dawood. A system window suddenly pops up warning that the white demon is highly interested in him. She actually calls him her darling, locking right onto a mark on his body. Pulled along by those weird thread-like lines, she says she always wanted to meet him. Dawood is totally blindsided by this insane reaction. The angel watches this whole interaction with absolute hatred. Meanwhile, the demon leans in close, licking her lips like she wants a literal taste. She just wants to take one little bite. She gets uncomfortably close, leaving Dawood breaking out in a nervous, cold sweat. He knows giving into this temptation means becoming her slave forever. The demon stares him down, completely full of desire. The angel is absolutely not having it. She grabs the demon by the hair and yanks. The demon screams at her to let go right now. Dawood watches this mess seriously, wondering if a low-tier angel can actually go toe-to-toe against a demon. Totally furious, the demon vows to absolutely destroy this angel the second that Rat lets go. The moment the angel slips up, the demon breaks free with claws out. The angel throws a few wild punches to teach her a lesson, but the demon counters immediately with a vicious strike. Pissed off, she hits the angel so damn hard that feathers go flying everywhere. The blow launches the angel flying backward. It is a wildly heavy hit, leaving the angel in insane pain. Going totally sicko mode, the demon rushes in to land another hit. The attack is so powerful that smoke literally billows off the impact. Our boy Dawood just watches completely lost on what is even happening. He warns the demon he will never forgive her if she touches that angel again. That makes the demon absolutely furious. She cannot stand being blackmailed by a mere human. The angel snaps at him in pure annoyance. She explicitly told him to keep his mouth shut. He orders the demon to drop the woman and get out of his mental space. They can settle this beef later. He asks if she heard him loud and clear, promising they will definitely meet again. The creature asks if that is a real promise. He confirms it, knowing deep down it is bound to happen regardless. Now watch his crazy play. He threatens to jump if she refuses to listen. He asks if she has any clue where his soul will end up if he pulls a stunt like that inside the mental realm. She just stares at him, looking completely baffled. After thinking it over for a quick second, she finally lets the angel go. She asks if he is threatening her, and he says yes immediately. He tells her to get lost right this second. The demon says he better keep that promise. She casually mentions wanting to devour his soul later because it looks absolutely delicious. Dawood thinks to himself that this angel owes him big time now. Looking back at her, he asks if she agrees with that logic. She asks what he wants. Her face already screams that absolutely nothing good is about to come out of his mouth. A few hours later, someone asks if that thing is really a stellar iron bar. It is the saint asking. She wonders if he actually managed to get that epic loot from an angel. He explains he will use it to craft a special item to ease her sister's curse. Her friend asks if just that will be enough. He says there is more to it. Stellar iron boosts vitality and is just insanely durable. The orange-haired girl asks if finding an angel is all it takes to fix this problem permanently. He says yeah, but warns them the real fight has not even started yet. He's absolutely hiding some crazy secret from them. Dawood completely ignores her question. The saint just keeps staring at the item. The orange-haired girl asks if they should start prepping too. He tells both of them to pay very close attention to what he says next. He explains that they need to save the school. Somewhere else, the president is reviewing paperwork. Meanwhile, the purple-haired woman is busy grinding away on a project. The blonde guy looks visibly pissed. A red-haired student mentions that tomorrow is the final day of their outdoor training arc. The other guy agrees, saying they will easily take first place. Meanwhile, Dawood just walks right through the busy crowd. He thinks about how clueless they are to the danger. Honestly, sometimes he wishes he could touch grass and live a normal student life too. He closes his eyes. Reality check, he does not have a single good memory of school or anything outside of it. Out of absolutely nowhere, someone asks if he is used to being completely by himself. He turns, asking who she is. She says she is what you would call a butterfly effect. Now he is standing face to face with this mysterious girl. She tells him that every single event led to her standing right here in front of him. He demands again to know who she is. She steps closer, instantly teleporting right behind him, and whispers that she thought he would be smarter. But the guy is totally average. She even points out that his normalcy is just borderline creepy. It completely blows her mind that a normie like him survived fighting demons this long. Staring at her, he racks his brain trying to remember if this NPC existed in the original lore. He asks who she is again, and she claims to be his absolute biggest fan. She brags that she is leagues better than those demon chicks. While he keeps pressing for her real identity, she explains she just absolutely hates seeing those girls anywhere near his orbit. Then she casually drops that she actually swiped the key. She just laughs, telling him he's being way too careless. He demands it back, realizing things are getting super dicey and finding it totally weird that 0 system notifications have popped up. She admits it completely triggers her seeing those girls act like they actually matter to him. She straight up confesses her urge to unalive every single one of them. She claims to be the only person who actually gets him. She insists that literally nobody else in the world ever could. Tossing the key up into the air, she claims she is the only one who can actually look him in the eye. She adds that she is the only villain goated enough for this. Not even those demon girls could pull off her next sick move. She bets he is completely prepped to fight the Boy King. She warns him that the Valkasu's invasion could drop at any literal second, but she knows he thrives under pressure. She asks if he will still clutch a win even when the whole plan totally falls apart. She wants to give him the benefit of the doubt because she knows he's about to pull off something absolutely hype, and she dares him to make her fall even deeper in love with him. Meanwhile, across town, the orange-haired girl is snacking on something delicious and finally deciding to log off for the day. Her friend asks if Ilya needs to touch grass, mentioning rumors about her intense solo grinding. Ilya asks if the Holy Studies nerds were gossiping, and her friend confirms that Ilya is basically going viral. She admits she only found out by pure accident since even Elia's dedicated simp club had been completely quiet about it. Ilya is shocked that fan club even exists. She remembers completely shutting it down last time with Dowd backing her up. Her friend just smiles, saying it is awesome seeing the two of them vibing so well. She then asks if Ilya is still holding any toxic grudges against him. Ilya honestly replies that she just feels a little bit let down. Her friend points out that one-shotting a giant boss or wiping out an entire mob of enemies at once is actually crazy impressive. Ilya says compared to a total Chad like that, she's just a regular candidate who is barely stronger than your average human. Suddenly, you can practically feel the vibe shift. Everyone senses the incoming danger, screaming that the protective barrier is actually tearing wide open. A woman screams at the crowd to hit the shelters immediately, warning them that this is extremely dangerous and definitely no drill. Meanwhile, some students are literally dead asleep, completely clueless about the massive chaos breaking out outside. Others have zero clue what is happening, but the glasses girl yells at everyone to gear up and grab a weapon just in case. The barrier is totally crumbling. The orange-haired girl figures a breach caused by a seraph will aggro every single evil entity in the entire zone. No hesitation, a woman rushes straight toward the breach, immediately spamming her powers. She realizes this dropped way faster than our main guy predicted. If this was actually his grand master plan, he is absolutely cooked right now. She figures he has some serious explaining to do later on. Meanwhile, everybody notices the sky totally glitching out. People start straight up screaming in terror. Naturally, the demonic mobs instantly notice the broken defenses. The crowd makes a mad dash for cover. They yell to get inside and physically protect the freshmen. A massive monster claw suddenly rips through. The beasts are going absolutely feral. Someone yells out what kind of boss actually warns you before attacking. One guy says he is ready, telling the others to hurry because he is totally done waiting around. The monsters push hard. Honestly, guys, all these things want is a literal taste of human flesh. A student begs for help in pure panic. Suddenly, his professor drops in, slicing the beast clean in half. He asks if he taught the kid to just stand there lagging out like an idiot, yelling at everyone to fall back inside. He strictly warns them against playing the main character right now. He realizes that things are looking incredibly grim. After all, the monsters inside the campus are not even the main problem. If that barrier fully shatters and all that dark energy funnels straight here, this whole zone is going to get insanely ugly. The woman desperately tries repairing the shield while questioning what the Chancellor's actual endgame is. The teachers scream at the students to hustle. One instructor orders them not to fight, just instantly evacuate the entire zone. He tells Unit 1 to keep escorting the newbies and orders Unit 2 to stack up with him to hold the front line. They must stop those monsters at all costs. With that, they dive straight into the meat grinder. Our MC realizes his whole plan just totally flopped. The monsters are loose, the barrier is completely gone. None of this was supposed to happen. He knows everything is getting way out of hand. Someone asks if he completely missed the evacuation order. It is Elnor, the president, slicing a monster right in half. He does not even hear her. His brain is locked onto fixing this massive mess. He has to turn the tables or fight back. She asks if he is deaf, but he totally tunes her out. He is fully locked in. Another girl asks Elnor why she is standing there while the student council gathers. Elnor tells her senior to go ahead. Our MC begs her to cover for him this once. He says they might actually save the school. He tells her to remember everything he has done up until now. He admits he is pretty weird, but she knows he never makes a move without a plan. The glasses girl yells to bring the MC quickly because they need her. She demands to know why Elnor is just standing around. Elnor fires back that this is the absolute last time she trusts him. With that, the two of them take off running together. Glasses girl thinks the president is a total idiot. They warn everyone that the clock tower is spawning all these monsters, and way stronger beasts are waiting there. Raising his hand, the MC admits they cannot do this alone and need backup. He asks for their help. A guy replies they have no idea what he means, claiming to just be Holy Empire delegates. The MC completely calls them out. He knows they are actually exorcists under the Pope, just disguised as regular observers. They keep playing dumb, insisting they have no clue. But the MC says he knows exactly why they are here, especially since he recently ticked off the Pope. He states their group is only here watching him. The guy replies that even so, they have zero obligation to help. He says to let the school fall as long as he survives. The MC asks if he is hearing this right, because he knows exactly where the item she actually wants is. He reminds them that tons of people are dying right now, so for their own good, they better lend a hand immediately. He makes it clear he does not care what dirty methods he uses to win, even if every villain on Earth tries to cause him pain. At that, the person starts scratching their head, actually thinking it over. She stares at him in pure disbelief. The MC just watches, waiting to see if this squad will actually step up. That is when she pulls back her hood, revealing a completely gorgeous woman underneath. Earning their trust makes getting to the tower a breeze. Just as expected, an absolutely massive horde of powerful monsters is waiting at the site. It looks like all the strongest creatures gathered up here, basically waiting for a final boss battle. As they walk, the woman admits she has no idea how he blew their cover, but she wants an explanation later. Meanwhile, the president just watches this entire thing with a furious glare. The short-haired woman looks heavily armed and totally ready to throw down. She tells him that once this whole mess ends, he better take full responsibility for every single word. Meanwhile, Sarah puts on an absolute masterclass, fighting with genuinely insane skills. And not just her, the whole squad is goated. He thinks about how completely ridiculous their power is, but he warns the president they are out of time. They have to reach that clock tower right now, because right at the top of that tower is where the enemy is waiting. As they walk, Elnor demands some answers. She warns him to skip the lame excuses. She complains he has literally never been honest with her since day one, always hiding stuff and changing the subject. Still, she knows he usually has a solid reason for acting like that, which is the only reason she stuck around this long. So she tells him to drop the stories and focus on the mission right now. He actually thanks her for having his back. She admits she is only helping because he is just so incredibly weird. Plus, deep down, she thinks he is a pretty decent guy in his own way. Suddenly, a giant shadow creeps over the area. An original monster drops in an immortal creature with basically infinite regeneration. The only way forward is luring the beast away, so he asks if she can grab its aggro for a second. But she totally prefers her own method. She decides she's just going to force her way right through it. Without a second thought, she fires off a massive attack straight at the monster. He realizes her whole plan is just slicing this thing to pieces. She goes absolutely all out, but the creature heals way faster than she can damage it. Suddenly, he screams out a warning. A brutal blow comes from the right. The giant monster is already swinging, totally ready to crush her. Panicking, he screams at her to defend herself as fast as possible. But right then, all Dowd sees is her sprinting straight ahead, zero intention of backing down whatsoever. She actually charges right in. To her, the best defense is a good offense, so she lunges head-on at that absolutely disgusting thing. She reminds herself she is a Tristan. She is totally ready to lay down her life in this fight. Even so, every passing second makes it obvious she is severely outmatched. Dowd was right all along. Some monsters actually cannot be cut down by her family's famous swordsmanship, expected from a creature literally built to be immortal. Now they are completely running out of time to climb this tower. Problem is, he cannot just abandon her in this terrible state. That is when she calls out to him. She says even if she falls here, he has to keep pushing and save the academy. He cannot believe what he is hearing right now. Ditching a teammate was never his style. Seeing such a strong girl completely break down just because her sword snapped makes him furious. Forget whatever the system or original story dictates. She is the absolute last person who should ever show weakness. Not happening. He completely refuses to stand by and watch a literal top-tier boss get humiliated like this. He will not let her give up and turn into some demon. So he calls out to her. He tells her since this looks like game over, he wants to say one last thing before leaving. He leans in and whispers something directly into her ear. A phrase so absolutely goated it makes the spark instantly return to her eyes. It hits her so incredibly hard that her energy surges right back, giving her a massive second wind. Meanwhile, the monster goes for a cheap shot, thinking she is totally defenseless. But it is way too late for this creature now. She is out for blood, ready to tear apart absolutely anything in her way. Now watch this closely. She hurls herself right back at the monster, showing her true OP potential even with his shattered sword. She literally does not look human anymore. That pure unhinged rage gives her the sheer crazy strength to slaughter absolutely anything standing in front of her. Up at the top of the clock tower, the figure waiting remarks that a serious face like that totally does not suit the main character. Then he just scoffs, muttering how youth really is a wonderful thing. He actually finds it pretty sick that Dowd tried stopping him in a situation like this. Of course, they made a bet, so our MC better remember. With that, multiple wild magic circles start floating in the air, hovering right above them. The guy says he hates demons and he hates those disgusting fighters just as much. Dowd already knows exactly why. They kept him trapped and suffering for thousands of years. Total irony that someone hating demons would team up with the Prophet for their power. Back in the original story, the Prophet made a sketchy deal targeting the Boy King's ultimate desire. He promised to give the boy the death he craved for destroying Elnor Academy, a dark promise to finally end his impossible immortal life. His own people were turned into forbidden art just to seal him away, but now that super tragic life can finally end. After suffering for ages, the Boy King basically had to choose between trusting a literal demon or a massive villain. In the end, he chooses the much harder path. He knows it is the only right way to save himself and his kingdom. He asks if our MC knows the way. Dowd just listens to him talk quietly, cooking up a brand new big brain strategy. And of course, the MC knows the way. Otherwise, he would not be acting this incredibly confident. The demon vessel asks if he understands the situation, leaving him with zero choice but to attack. Our MC knows this guy will not rest in peace until they go all out in a boss fight. Floating down, he unleashes a crazy magic barrage and demands the MC bring his A-game. Meanwhile, young Elijah realizes she needs to warn the others first, since she is the only one here with actual experience. She warns them to be careful not to bite their tongues. The dark-haired girl just stares in pure disbelief at their insane speed. She tells them to drop their items, but the blonde girl says she is completely fine and trusts her own balance. After giving her warnings, Elijah just decides to let them touch grass and learn the hard way. She hits the switch to launch everyone while the dark-haired girl begs for a second to focus. All three get launched perfectly. Even having done this before, Elijah still cannot get used to it. Elsewhere, the demon keeps spamming attacks, telling his opponent not to be a disappointment. Suddenly, reality hits our MC so hard it leaves him completely frozen in place. He frantically tries recalling the boss attack patterns for these tentacles and lasers, deciding it is best to just dodge and prep a sword technique. That Tristan family technique should definitely be enough to start with. But then he changes his mind entirely and sheathes his sword. He decides to just rush in, dodging everything, using the sweaty movement commands he already memorized. Meanwhile, the enemy straight up mocks him, saying he thought he came to actually fight, not play tag. It is a massive disappointment for the monster, but he is definitely not pulling any punches. Now he is going all out, firing lasers from those totally creepy mouths. Luckily, that veteran dodge zone is ready. It actually works here too, which is a massive W for our boy Dowd. He just has to stall this dude, basically a walking cheat code with a total death wish. Looking up, Dowd suddenly spots literal chunks of that monster raining from the sky. Major green flag right there, meaning Elnor absolutely clutched her fight. He remembers that when these specific mobs get wiped out, their brain or heart straight up detonates. Right on cue, the freak lunges at him again. A crazy massive explosion hits, basically proving she entirely finished her brawl. Caught completely off guard, Dowd takes a brutal hit and eats dirt. The boss taunts him, asking if he is finally hyped to throw hands. Dowd fires back, asking if they can just chill for a second. But the guy straight up lays out his deal. He claims that once this crazy form drops, there is zero way to shut it down. Typical villain stuff, completely deadpan, totally unfazed. But he promises to remember Dowd's guts for a long time. Right as he winds up for the killing strike, backup officially enters the chat. Perfect timing to shield our guy. The monster is seriously shook by this, considering it was strictly a one-on-one fight literally 2 seconds ago. They tell the cultist to relax because they are about to absolutely wreck his day. A gorgeous blonde angel just touched down to carry this match. The sweet dark-haired girl announces she is here to save her master. Seeing he is totally unharmed, Ilya crashes onto the battlefield right beside them. Completely ready to defend her squad, she hypes him up for surviving this long and asks if he missed her. Looking incredibly relieved, Dowd admits their timing right now is honestly goated, absolutely perfect. Yuria is super hyped, pointing out the Iron Tiara actually works since she can finally stand next to people without issues. She thanks her master for the gear, promising she will not let anyone hurt him. Dowd realizes the lore goes way deeper, since popping that item does not just magically delete the curse. It morphs into a sick offensive debuff, staying totally locked and loaded until the curse officially shatters at the perfect time. Only the protective buff is left, blessing her with this flashy golden armor. The demon is officially losing his mind. He screams he is totally done with the yapping, but get this, Dowd realizes this entire boss fight defies every single logic rule. So he tells the squad to follow his exact calls to secure the W. Rule number 1, nobody moves from their assigned spot. He makes it crystal clear one sloppy mistake equals game over. Everyone seriously needs to lock in right now. Yuria tells the angel that this is basically their very first time teaming up in a real fight. It feels insane to finally unleash her powers without those stupid chains. Dowd snaps them back to reality. The boss is rushing. He commands Lucian to queue up Blessing 37 and hold. Then he tells Ilya to prep her forward dash, exactly how they grinded during that crazy training arc. And Yuria, she has total permission to shred absolutely anything moving. If it moves, slice it. The enemy steps up to the plate, fully prepared to nuke the whole area. Dowd issues a massive warning. One tiny scratch from this guy will inflict total stun lock. Lucian groans about Dowd micromanaging the entire raid while having basically zero faith in their actual skills. They successfully tank the opening hit, but he screams at the girl to drop down and dodge those wild tentacles. He orders Yuria to duck the follow-up, then spam the block move the absolute second he calls it out. Post-block, she has to backstep without totally abandoning the front line. The whole strategy is camping that exact sweet spot for a massive counterattack, just out of range if the boss tries a rush attack. The cultist spams his tentacles, trying to clip her from literally every angle. He commands Ilya to dive in, but she freezes up, terrified that one random scratch means instant death. Spotting her panic, Dowd shouts at Lucian to drop an attack buff on Ilya right this second. He reassures the warrior rookie stay chill, the entire raid is going exactly by the playbook. Hype back up, she pushes the sprint button, ready to dice up the battlefield. The game plan is incredibly basic. Rush and deal, massive damage, dump aggro, and repeat. Watching this flawless teamwork, the demon is genuinely scratching his head. And honestly, you cannot blame the guy. He just cannot process how a squad fighting his boss phase blindly has not dropped a single combo. Well, except for the Saint. Lucian keeps burning all her mana because shot calling a sweaty raid like this is brutal. Meanwhile, Yuria gets pure praise for tanking the front line like an absolute raid boss. They really have to go totally all out right now. And Ilya is absolutely dialed in. But this Guardian is definitely not hitting the brakes on his spam attacks. Pushing that insane level of firepower, he literally chops a handful of those minion mobs straight down the middle. A massive wall of fire erupts, entirely swallowing the enemy. Ilya braces herself to drop another heavy skill rotation. But the boss is clearly feeling the heat now. Watching their sick synergy, Dowd realizes they actually have a legit shot at clutching this win. Only one issue, the demon is gearing up to completely overcharge his next wave of attacks. It feels like he is, flexing that he was totally just playing around this whole time. Meanwhile, their protective barrier desperately needs a refresh. But even Atalante has limits in an insane high-intensity brawl like this. She's running on fumes and completely out of mana. The squad needs to wrap this up as soon as possible before they wipe. This fight is completely brutal, pushing everybody way past their limits. Lucian and Yura are hyper-focused on securing that kill. Watching from the backline, Dawood spots them switching up their attack pattern and absolutely yells at them to hold off. He screams out to Elia, telling her it is finally time to totally wreck the boss and charge up a massive strike. This demon still thinks he has the upper hand, acting like this whole fight is mid. He is totally tired of playing around. Dawood keeps shot-calling like a pro, ordering Elia to dodge hard while giving Lucian the green light to drop that ultimate buff. The second she gets the call, she perfectly snaps right into position to pull it off. Then out of nowhere, Yura lands a picture-perfect counterattack that catches absolutely everyone off guard. The hit is crazy, precise, leaving even the cultists totally shook. Those chains keep getting yanked back with absolute insane force. Right then, Lucian remembers that promise of salvation and basically tells this guy it is time to pay up. It is pretty obvious she has got some major personal beef to settle with Valkasis. She pops her ultimate skill, Proof of Faith, making the top of the tower literally glow like sunrise. The strike hits clean, delivering the exact punishment he was promised. It totally looks like GG, and he is finally about to break free from those heavy chains holding him down. Except Lucian realizes Valkasis is somehow still tanking this hit like a boss. He starts screaming in total desperation he cannot die here. Because if he gets wiped saving, his kingdom is totally cooked. Seeing him refuse to fold the girl puts way more juice into the blow. And just like that, the boss screams in absolute pure agony. Watching this whole crazy scene, Aaliyah gets an idea and pushes forward. She knows this is their one window, so she has to move fast. Realizing he actually survived a pierced heart, she decides it is time to go totally sweaty with extreme measures. Just then, Dawood rushes right over, telling her to chill out while hyping up her amazing carry in the fight. He orders her to fall back with the squad, claiming he is soloing the rest of this boss battle. She seriously thinks he needs to touch grass. This absolute tank of a boss is still standing after eating those heavy direct hits. Dawood tells her he is not capping and he knows exactly how much HP this monster has left in the tank. He warns her that if she stays, the whole team wipes. He totally thanks her for following the strat, but makes it clear that from here on out, it is his main character moment. Once again, he has to trust a teammate, and he is seriously not comfortable with it at all. So he tells the Saint to bounce with Yura. After all, she's a hero candidate, meaning she literally cannot let any student die on her watch. But here's the thing, he sounds exactly like her brother did back when he made that huge promise to survive and come back completely fine. But that is definitely not how her past trauma actually played out. She thinks she is tripping because they talk the exact same way. Even their smiles are totally identical, except our boy Dawood has absolutely zero intention of taking an L here. He casually walks over to the monster, which looks fully debuffed and in total agony. And yeah, that is the real problem. Watching him solo push like that gives her the worst feeling she will literally never see his face again. She tries calling out, but her mic is basically muted. Seeing her freeze up, Lucian steps in and firmly tells her to evacuate right now. He warns that walking down the stairs is way too slow. He calls her name again, and with literally zero other options left, Aaliyah just heavily grips her sword hilt, and just like that, she finally lets herself get pulled back to safety along with the squad. Dawood knows the only way to cleanse this insane curse is by winning a completely fair one-on-one duel. But get this right, now the only guy who can offer a fair fight is Dawood himself, the absolute weakest human-rocking straight F-rank stats. Now he's about to combine the Soulbinder with that demonic essence, since evil souls absolutely love getting slotted in. He even asks Elia's brother if the process hurts a lot. Crossing his arms, the guy basically says it would be crazy to think it doesn't. But our guy stays ice cold and does not ask another thing. Right then, that crazy stigma skill officially activates. With that, he holds the item right up to the demon. In a split second, an empty void hits and his eyes snap wide open. Right after comes this insane, agonizing pain, like every single fiber of his physical body is literally tearing apart. The pain drags on for straight minutes, trapping him in a world made of pure agony, heavy darkness, and emptiness. Then out of nowhere, a single light drops in the distance. But instantly, the pain hits 1,000 times harder, becoming basically impossible to tank. It feels like all he has to do is grab that distant image. An image of a super young, a kid is sitting totally alone, completely lost in his own head. He's surrounded by flames, and it looks like it will be total ash in seconds. The kid just watches it burn. He looks totally defeated, giving up on his fate. He just sits there as the flames eat everything, completely mesmerized by the destruction. Watch this closely. It looks like the raging inferno is about to swallow him whole too. Suddenly, a movement catches his eye, forcing him to turn around. Boom! Our main character is standing right there inside the fire with him. But our guy knows if he stays too long, these dark memories will drag him under. He says he came down here, not just to save the kids, but the entire kingdom. The blonde kid figured as much. He knew Our hero walked into this trap knowing the stakes, facing the danger head on. With that, the kid claims victory and gives his final thanks. Up above, holding that barrier is getting impossible. Then bam! A wild shift happens. The barrier starts healing on its own. There is only one explanation here. That goated student actually pulled it off. It is absolutely sick, seeing the magic shield patch itself up and watching the entire sky light up. Over the clock tower, pure hype. Without warning, the heavens totally explode into a crazy mix of flashing neon colors. System windows start popping off, announcing the main quest is complete and dropping a massive payload of points. He got the dub, but he is completely cooked. He barely made it out alive. When he finally opens his eyes, the first thing staring back is Elnor and her intense red eyes. Honestly, waking up to her actually feels pretty comforting right now. He asks if she rushed over right after soloing the monsters, low-key worried she is furious about being left behind. She tells him that is definitely not why she is salty. The real issue is something else. She explains she bumped into Bakshan, the warrior candidate, and the saintess outside the tower. Since they teamed up against the warlock, she feels like she got completely benched. She demands to know why she missed out on the epic boss fight, acting super jealous right now. So he gathers his courage and just straight up asks if she is feeling jealous. Suddenly, his face drops, turning serious and pretty shocked. He just spotted a rare item sitting on the floor, proving all those dark art curses are finally broken. He knows the blonde kid can finally drop that heavy burden, and the victims are at peace. He can basically picture their final conversation in his head, but he is so ridiculously exhausted that he just flops back on us. Then she's cast the part of the sky, then he catches her staring right at him while he spaces out. So he quickly shifts gears, asking what she wants to do next. Since she totally clapped that monster, all by herself, rumors will spread and mercenaries are going to start hunting her. But she does not care about any of that noise. She tells him to drop it and focus on her real priorities. She makes sure to remind this guy that he absolutely still owes her a proper dinner since their last date got ruined. Right after that flex, some incredibly good news drops. Because of the whole clock tower mess, vacation starts early. He is super relieved. Break is officially here. Word on the street is someone literally chopped the building in half, forcing massive repairs. Even then, a few unlucky students have to stay behind at the academy. But check this out. A Holy Empire document arrives, and our guy might have just exposed their biggest weakness. Holding a gorgeous bouquet of flowers, Yuria brags about how attentive her master is. Obviously, he would do whatever it takes to keep the two of them together. That smirk, as she arranges the flowers, makes it perfectly clear. Honestly, even without stressing over the details, she knows the Emperor never backs down from a prize. Still, she totally gets that. Running away is not the play anymore, not since finding someone she actually trusts. Lucienne just smiles, joking that she can barely tell who the older sister is sometimes. She says it is chill, though, considering they are twins born mere minutes apart. Suddenly, a new girl crashes the room, telling them to zip it. All their yapping is totally ruining her reading time, and she demands the blonde pay for her tobacco. Over on the side, you can clearly spot a framed portrait on the table, classic big, happy family vibes. Elia asks Trisha if she really thinks she has the raw stats to be the true warrior candidate, but her friend never doubted her for a second. After all, Trisha totally handles that insane mess at the clock tower. Saying this, she stares at a picture of her brother with a heavy heart, missing him like crazy. She desperately wants that warrior title, but the homesickness is real. Her friend gently asks if what is dragging her down is family worry or just pure thirst for revenge. She replies that she is blindly chasing her brother's footsteps, trying to patch up the massive void her family left behind. But her friend thinks otherwise. She says Trisha just needs to touch grass. She already found someone to fill that void without realizing. Meanwhile, in this sick magic-lit spot, Homegirl gives our boy a heads up. Those demon fanboys, they are definitely going to keep spinning the block, so he cannot lack right now. Our guy just shrugs. He claims he is totally used to it and stays fully locked in anyway. She pushes back, though, telling him to go touch grass. Chilling out is the literal point of this break. Finally, she orders him to just chill for a sec. He agrees. He needs to recharge now that Chapter 2 of this madness has started. His mind drifts back to the Prophet. Was that edgy demon worshipper secretly a girl this entire time? Honestly, his memory is totally fried on whether they were female from day one. Right then, his companion gets a random lightbulb moment. Bro is completely caught off guard. She wants him taking a quick side quest back to his hometown with a +1. She casually drops that the warrior candidate already got the memo. The two of them are going together. And to make things totally wild, the student council president is tagging along. Talk about a massive info dump for him to process.